Hello everyone and welcome to Virtual Circuit of the Americas tonight for the American Motorsport Association Blackmagic Studios Grand Prix of the Circuit of the Americas. I am Mark Murphy, your host, joined as always alongside me, my main man, Sam Crow, and we're here for 65 laps of Xfinity action from COTA. Sam, this is going to be fun. We've been watching practice. Some of these guys look like the short track oval racers that they are, but we've got some pretty good road course hands in here too. And even better than that, we've got a full field, Sam.
Hi, Mark. It's so good to be here, and you're right on point with a lot of those comments. We're seeing a great diversity within the field. So usually, when it comes to road course racing, a lot of leagues have a little trouble pulling in the driver pool. But that's just not the case here at the AMA. We're pulling in talent, and the diversity of the talent means that there is going to be action all over the racetrack. And so I'm excited about the potential of that there will be people that will be racing for positions from front to back. You were alluding that we were watching practice. And I'm watching a lot of these drivers try to maneuver and finesse these cars because they get really light on this racetrack in certain areas, and they are really pushing the envelope to get speed. And so it's going to be interesting to see who's going to be able to push that envelope for the entirety of the event, and who's just going to be steady and smooth and mind their business and see where they finish.
Speaking of minding business, the business of this racetrack has changed, ladies and gentlemen. No longer are we running the 3.426 mile Grand Prix circuit here at COTA. NASCAR has decided that they're going to take the shortcut. So when they get to the top of the S's, they're going to take turn 6A, which is about the midpoint of what we would turn the S's, which go all the way through turn 9 here at COTA. They're going to take turn 6A, take a sharp left, and you can kind of see it in these aerial shots. There's a cutoff that will take them and dump them out after a quick back and forth left to right. There's a cutoff there, and they will then make another left. That's going to be turn 6B, and they're going to head right on to the back straight. They're going to be there at the middle point, and there you see it. They're going to be right at the midpoint, maybe 2/3 the way down the back. They'll hang the left at turn 12 and rejoin the regular Grand Prix course. So they've shortened this track up, NASCAR has, by almost a mile, which, to be fair, results in a lot of different racing. We're used to seeing some big speeds down these straightaways, from turn 9 down to turn 11, and then from turn 11 all the way up to turn 12. That's not going to be so, Sam. It's going to be a fairly low speed affair here tonight too, isn't it?
Oh, no question about the speed is being limited. When you cut out that much straightaway like what you have on the back on that backstretch, you generate so much inertia, and so it certainly cuts down the lap times. But again, you're looking at a course now that's been diverted in such a way, as we've been talking about, that it does require so much more finesse and making sure that the maneuverability that you're capable of, and throttle control and braking prowess, all comes into play. It certainly does not bring speed into the equation as much as those factors.
Yeah, and speaking of finesse and factors, you're gonna have to look after the tires here, especially the rears. You get those things too hot, you're not going to be able to find any purchase on this Texas asphalt, and that's critical here because there's so many low and medium speed corners in this layout that you really need a good launch off of those corners. So that's something to watch. We are going to be stage racing tonight. Those stages are going to be 20 and 40 laps long. Speaking of guys that know about stage races in this series, we've had 2 restrictor plate events. Right, the first one at Daytona for the 300 miles. Michael Moquin captured the flag in Daytona. Edwin James brought it home in Atlanta. So we're here for the third out of what, 12 straight weeks that we're going here. So we're hitting the quarter pole. Both of those drivers are in the field, and Sam, we do have qualifying getting ready to start. So let's bring the fans some of that action. One of the things I want to do as drivers get out to start qualifying, I'm going to jump up on the roll bar. And we're going to kind of look at some of them.
Are you going to take us for a lap?
We're going to watch some laps. Let's
Oh, that's awesome.
Let's have a look at Kyle. Let's get on board and ride with Kyle Heath. That's a good one. He was third quick in practice.
Sure was.
We're atop the Busch Ice Chevrolet Camaro as he winds it on up. He's going to send it through the S's 2, 3, 4, 5, and then he'll make this left here. That's 6A. These corners are not numbered, 6B, and then he'll blast down what's left of the back straight.
Right. This is a very precarious place right here where the car gets extremely light.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize too, COTA, not only is it an extremely fast road course, at least the full version of it, and so not only is it extremely fast, but it's built for Formula One. It is extremely technical. This corner right here, 15, that's a double apex. 16, 17, and 18, yes, it's a triple apex, and a lot of these are off camber.
Yes, and with open wheel, you have far more experience with open wheel, but I know in NASCAR, whether it's the Xfinity cars, of course the Cup cars have a little bit more downforce, and they hug the track a little better. But in these particular cars, momentum, if you can control your momentum with the throttle, it makes all the difference in those particular areas that you're talking about.
Yeah, it does. I mean, these cars, the line from Days of Thunder is still prescient. When you're racing Indy cars out west, the tires were twice as wide and the car weighed half as much. Well, now the tires are half as wide and the car weighs twice as much. That's exactly what Kyle Heath is struggling with here. This thing does not want to turn, especially through this part of the track. This is all rhythm. It's all momentum. It is very technical. And if you're out of place by so much as a car width, it kills your lap time. And so you want to be super smooth through this part of the course.
Well said, Mark. Well said.
Yeah, right here, you got to make sure you brake at exactly the right point. Otherwise, you're going to do what I did, which is slip and slide and slam yourself right into that Armco off to Kyle Heath's right. He is on the quick lap. And
Sam, is on this lap. I mean, he's hitting his marks well.
He is. One of the things I draw your attention to is he has not yet got the car out of third gear. So without that long straight, there's not really much of a chance to wind this baby up, is there?
No, actually, I just think that in order to keep control or tire spin control, you're going to have to make sure that you monitor that, and you do that through the gearing, of course.
Yeah, I did try. I ran some laps here just to kind of gauge fuel numbers and so forth. One of the things I noticed is that the gearing doesn't really lend itself the way the setup is geared, and it's just the iRacing base setup. Let's not say it's anything other than that. But
you're right. It's not a custom setup.
No,
you're
it's
exactly
not.
Right.
It's not. If I was making the setup choice here, I'd have made the gear stack a lot shorter.
Mm-hmm.
Because ideally you don't want to go down to first gear. You want to keep it in second gear through some of these low speed corners. Make the gear stack shorter and make second a little bit taller, so you don't have to worry about
to the top.
Yep. So you don't have to worry about the wheel spin and things like that. This is his second hot lap. His first effort, a 1:39.556. We've only seen one lap faster in practice than that, and that was Ryan O'Donohue. Ryan O'Donohue clocked in at a 1:39.2. I will also say
Kyle's not leaving anything on the table, as well as some of these other cars that are now trying their hand at their qualifying laps. Although we only have 4 posted times.
Well, you got to remember
5 posted times now.
You got to remember too, Sam. If you go off the course, you get a 1X, and that's really easy to, or even a 0X.
Right.
It
disqualifies the time.
Yeah, it disqualifies the time. So we got a lot of drivers that are out there that are on lap 2. They don't have a posted time because the time is disallowed because of an off track or contact or a slowdown or something like that. And so you have to be very cognizant of that if you're one of these drivers. You want to keep it between the lines. Normally, we'd give a history lesson about the course. The issue here, though, Sam, is these cars
have a lot of history.
Well, these cars have never raced
very long.
Yeah, well, these cars have never raced on this course. They've run the full circuit, but they've never run
not on the short circuit.
No, not on the short circuit. It's properly termed Circuit of the Americas West course is the name of this one. Kyle Heath to the top of the board, and that is the fastest lap that we have seen in qualifying or in practice or qualifying, 1:39.1. More drivers are clocking in with lap times.
We still have 5 minutes of qualifying left, though.
We do.
And the current track conditions too lend that they won't see a lot of track temperature changing. Some drivers will wait. Some drivers will wait to see if track temps will drop even a degree, because it can make up tenth on the racetrack if the track temperatures begin to change and begin to drop and give you more grip. Some drivers will purposely wait to qualify for that, but at this particular time of the day, and the fact that there's very little cloud, it's mostly sunny, not partly. I don't see where it would be an advantage to wait.
It wouldn't. We do that in open wheel stuff, especially around Indianapolis. You kind of try to game the weather because. 1 degree of air temp in Indianapolis is the difference between being on the pole or watching a race on Sunday from the grandstand.
That is very true. That's why I brought it up. There's been many times I've waited to the last possible moment to go out and do a qualifying run, just simply hoping that I would get 1 degree. But being 11 minutes after 5,
it's not going to change.
You're not going to lose much.
No, I mean, this race is going to take place in the late afternoon to sunset, so I don't think you're gonna see much change in temperature. And it's a Chamber of Commerce day anyway. 71 degrees in the air, 72 degrees on the track, about 46% humidity. Winds are not. I
was looking at that. 13 miles an hour is significant if it's blowing.
If it's blowing out of the southeast.
Right. It is blowing out of the southeast, and that's why I'm trying to redetermine some of the track layout.
So it would be
if it's blowing southeast, then yes, then what you're going to do is you're going to be getting all this tailwind as you head into 1. You get all that you already have all the momentum of going into turn 1, and then turn around and have all that wind behind you too.
If it's blowing out of the southeast, it would be a headwind down the front, and so it would be blowing
down backwards. You're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
So it's blowing.
You're right.
It's blowing across the balance of the track. So it's going to be blowing you toward the left side of the course through 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Would be where you'll feel the most resistance there in a tailwind. That's where the car will get light from the wind.
Yeah, it's going to be a tailwind in the 6A and 6B really. Mm-hmm. And then it's going to be trying to blow you off the course going into turns 12 and 15, 12, 15, and 19.
Sure.
It's going to be pressing you toward the apex where you don't want to be, through that triple apex corner at 16, 17, and 18. So the wind may play a role yet. We've got one more car out there that's looking at making a qualifying run. This is Edwin James. Everybody else has completed their laps. Edwin James is the last one, I believe, who is going to attempt to take time. There were, by my count, Sam, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drivers.
There's 11 drivers who will not post a time.
Yeah, and 6 of those attempted to post a time, but they had an off course or some sort of an event that triggered iRacing to not take their time. And that's big because that includes Michael Moquin, who was your winner at Daytona.
I know at these particular tracks, and if the viewers that may or may not be racers, but the drivers have a tendency to want to use up all of the racetrack and then some.
Yeah.
Those red and black or red and white block boundaries are not necessarily boundaries in a lot of drivers' eyes. They're just an extension of the original course. And so, if you use up too much of those too much of that curbing, it will give you an incident point.
You're quite right, Kyle, and that's something in road racing we train on, is getting as close to that boundary as absolutely possible. But we do have a starting lineup, a starting field here at Circuit of the Americas.
Congratulations to Kyle Heath for his pole position.
Absolutely. Kyle Heath, he's going to be on the pole with a lap of 1:39.155. That is the fastest lap that we saw in practice or qualifying. Ryan O'Donoghue, he's going to be on the outside of the front row. James Hodgson and Justin Osterman, they're going to make up row 2. Row 3, Mark Cofield and Scott C. Ford Jr. Edwin James, your winner from Atlanta, he's going to go 7th alongside Adam O'Brien in 8th. Joseph Klein 9th. Jason Heaney will round out your top 10. In 11th, Andrew Miller. 12th, Nolan Milnes. Brian Wasserman and Zachary Wake make up row 7. Lee Campbell, Will Moore, row 8. Trevor Benz, Michael Prachik, they're going to be in row 9. Brian Sharp, who is functioning as the administrator of tonight's event because Kendall Paul is not here, he's going to be 19th. John Hutchins is going to round out your top 20. In 21st, Mark Allett. 22nd, Michael Kirk. Sean Merriman, 23rd. We are now into the cars that did not post a time. In row 12, Michael Moquin, we talked about him a moment ago. Colby Pierce and Jeffrey Hyatt, 25th and 26th. Caleb Jones, Eric Corder are going to be 27th and 28th. Paul French and Jacob Smith are going to round out your top 30. These cars, of course, all set by iRating. In 31st, Brandon Bernier. 32nd, Ryan Floyd. 33rd, Keith Ayers. Braden Langley will go shotgun on the field, and of course the grid camera is backwards. So my apologies on that to the fans at home. We do have a healthy audience joining us here for the Black Magic Studios Grand National Series, and do want to thank everybody for that. If you haven't done so, go ahead and grab the like button, click subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. We definitely do appreciate everyone doing that. We are on for 65 laps here at Circuit of the Americas.
Kyle Heath was making comments in chat about he didn't know where that lap came from, so it just shows his excitement and how hard he's pushing. He really wants to have a good run tonight, as well as all the other drivers here in the AMA. It's a great showing. It's a great size field, and I think it's going to be great that we have opportunities to see racing in different sections of the course, and we'll get to enjoy all of those battles as they unfold through the event.
You know, we will, Sam. We 100% certain sure will. One of the things that I am not used to is covering road races. Now I do a little bit when we do the Indy Open Series. That's on Monday nights at 7:00. Kyle Clenworth and I. But road racing is not something, especially in iRacing, that lends itself very well to the broadcast. It's very difficult to get the camera stuff right, and so you're going to see some interesting angles. If I get it wrong, I apologize. We're watching where we would normally watch, where you would watch as a spectator. This is the fan cam. Whiplash SimCams does a great job of providing us these angles. It's more operator error in me not knowing how to use them. But at any rate, this is where you'd be looking if you were watching the race from the stands. They're going to come off a turn. They're going to come off a turn number 20. Kyle Heath going to lead Ryan O'Donoghue to the flag. Barney has the green in the air.
Pull those belts tight. We're getting ready to go.
Yeah, we are.
Green flag.
As the fans at home can tell, the start.
Oh, they're checking up on the inside already. Someone must have missed a gear.
Yeah, and here we go. We're going down toward turn 1. There are an infinite number of lines that are available. 4 wide.
So far it looks like everyone did a great job getting through turn 1.
They've all made it through turn 1.
How about that? What a terrific start. Excellent job by these drivers.
They have
a lot of give and take there. A lot of give and take.
You just saw the 40 of Andrew Miller. He went over the sausage curb there in the S's. You do that, you get the car launched up in the air. It can be very difficult to settle it down. We've got Paul
Yes,
French.
getting that grip back. That's right.
We've got Paul French has gone off in the S's, and there's Paul. He is going to drop to the rear of the field. Sean Merriman took the start from the pits, and so he is 23 seconds in arrears. Jacob Smith.
So technically, he missed the start then.
Yeah, he started from the pit lane. One of the oddities that the fans will notice, Kyle Heath and Ryan O'Donohue have kind of spread themselves out.
We got a car off the track. Oh, it looks like Kyle Heath. Is that Kyle Heath? Oh, no, it's not.
That is not Kyle Heath.
It just got my attention.
No, that's okay. That is Scott C. Ford in the number 10, and let's have a look.
The car colors were similar, so it just scared me for a moment there.
No, I got you. Here's Scott in the number 10. He's following behind the 88 of James Hodgson, and it appears as though he just kind of wheel hopped it down that 13, 14, 15 complex, spins it off. He gets a situation righted. Meanwhile, we've got a battle for third. James Hodgson is under fire from Justin Osterman. Those are two teammates, and they are going at it for the bottom
Actually,
set of the
Hodgson
podium.
just made the pass going into one, past Osterman.
He has, okay. And so that would have been a flip in position because if I recall, Hodgson started ahead of Osterman anyway. So Osterman got the advantage on the start. They bound through that cutoff section up toward turn 12. Hodgson leading Osterman. Don't want to lose sight of the fact that Kyle Heath and Ryan O'Donohue are together. They are ahead of this battle for third. And the reason that we're kind of not showing a whole lot of them, they have disappeared off into the distance. But we do want to give them their due because they were pretty close there going into turn number 15. This is the triple apex left-hander, 16, 17, 18. Hooker right at 19. Short burst of speed.
Now you got this battle with Joseph Klein and Andrew Miller. It looks like Joseph Klein's going to be able to pass Miller. That's actually a tough pass there on the outside. He made it work, and of course, a little give and take there on Andrew Miller's part.
Yeah, we'll go back and watch it. One of the great things about this deal is we can go back and there's the 7 of Joseph Klein. He gets the outside position. One of the things you can do though, and that's that triple apex corner that I was talking about. If you can pin a guy down there and make him really run that corner tight, he's going to lose a lot of time. Where you want to arc that corner out a little bit. That's exactly what Joseph Klein did, and Joseph Klein gets the position, and he's going after Nolan Milnes now. Joseph Klein looking to move into 7th.
Yeah, the beauty of also what Joseph Klein was doing there by making that pass on the outside, it set him up for the end turn, so that when he finally got past Miller, he had already had position for the next turn. So it was well thought out, well played.
Most certainly do. We do have a very active chat here. We've got drivers checking in all over the place. Reaper's Double said that the Danger Close team has one car in the field, so we do have some guys missing. He says he's not home yet to make the start. Kindy, same kind of deal. He just got home, so not in the field. Paul French, he said just that same thing. He had both of his laps disallowed for track limits, and so
off tracks.
Yeah, so just as we kind of suspected, watching the battle here, this is 7th and 8th. It is the closest one on the course. This is Joseph Klein working on Nolan Milnes for 7th. Klein in 8th. Looking up and down the board, this is about as close as we've got, Sam.
Actually, I've been kind of looking back at this battle back here with Lee Campbell, Trevor Benz, Brian Wasserman. These guys are really going at it back here. I love that you have all these different spots where there's so much action going on, but these guys are really working it as they're coming into turn 1 right now.
Yeah, you're going to see some outbraking here.
There he goes. Big break into 1.
Now is he going to be able?
Holy cow!
Now is he going to be able to hold it? That's the question, and we've still got some Go ahead.
Wasserman really stuck it in there.
Yes, he did,
But he held it. He held it.
and that's that's kind of what you got to do. That's kind of what you got to do to get yourself, in the position. Looking at Lee Campbell there, he's in the plain white wrapper. Immediately behind him is the misnumbered car of Trevor Benz. Brian Wasserman in the 57 has now disappeared from the back of that group, and they're drawing a beat on Zachary Wake and Mark Cofield, who are immediately to the front of these two cars. This is 13th and 14th.
The battle you were just watching with Joseph Klein. It looks like he's made the pass on Nolan Milnes.
Nolan Milnes tries to fight back, but we'll go back and watch this one. It's another thing of beauty.
Klein is moving up through this field.
Yes, he is. It was another thing of beauty, and it was another thing of beauty. Klein had actually made the pass. Milnes went back to his inside here, and they're going to do battle up through several corners, and finally Klein is able to make it stick, although Milnes has gotten back by him. So while we were watching replays of a really good battle, there was another one.
I just noticed that too. I was looking at some action back in the field, and sure enough, when I got back to it, Milnes is already back around Klein. Oh, he hit the curb really hard there. Oh, and he lost the back end of the car. He just about lost it.
He did, and that's going to hurt him all the way up to 6A.
Yes.
Yeah. And it looks like he's going to.
He gathered it up. Just really did a great job gathering that car back up. The thing about these Xfinity cars is that, and why there are so many drivers that are gravitated to this particular car is because there so much has to be put back into the driver's hands. It is a car that has to be managed with throttle control. Of course, you have to. As you so well said in the pre-race comments, talking about saving the rear tires, making sure that you don't flat spot, making sure your brake bias is in a field that you can operate in. I mean, there are so many narratives about how you want this car to drive and making it work for your driving style, and that's why so many stock car drivers in the iRacing services love to drive these particular cars.
I'll tell you who's loving to drive this car right now. We're going to flip back to the battle for the lead. Ryan O'Donohue all over the rear end of Kyle Heath. He's cut that gap down to about 0.3 of a second. One of the things I did want to point out to the viewers, we were watching Barney at the start with the flag.
Yes, sir.
The flagman is not actually Kyle Heath's going to run it wide. That's going to give O'Donohue a chance. He's going to get to what would be his inside.
I'm not going to let him have it easy.
No, he's not. And that brake lock at turn 1, that hurts you all the way through here. You saw how close O'Donohue got. We just about had a lead change. It appears as though Kyle Heath.
Did you see how much room O'Donohue gave him on the high side there?
Yeah, I think this is one of those, we do have stage caution at 20 laps, but I think this is one of those kind of deals, Sam, where look, if you're Kyle Heath or Ryan O'Donohue, you can look down at the relative. You've got, a 4-second lead. There's no reason to knock each other out. These opportunities are going to present themselves throughout the race. There's no sense in taking a wild risk when you're this much faster than everybody at this early of the race, early point of the race.
Well, it's certainly right. No, it certainly helps when you're in a race just like one of these, that you know that your lap times are going to be somewhere near the top, and you're not mirror driving. A lot of drivers will tell you they don't mirror drive, but I don't know a driver that has drove that doesn't mirror drive. Well, there's a reason the windshield is so much bigger than the rearview mirror.
That's true.
You want to make sure that your concentration and your focus is out the front. And so when you have two cars as fast as Heath and O'Donohue are right now, then you can pace yourself with each other, knowing that you have these other cautions that are coming up, and you can watch and see what the reactions and the weak spots may be of the driver that you're racing with.
Do want to point out that the cars of Caleb Jones, Ryan Floyd, and Brandon Bernier have pulled into the pit lane. They're all multiple laps down. We did see one car that was basically coasting into pit lane Jacob Smith has punched out of the number 11, so he's going to be credited with 33rd and last on the day. We'll get the split up, and because it's a road course, you're going to have some different time. You're going to have some time to talk about different guys, and we'll start off with Kyle Heath. He started on the pole. The 13 is the leader at the moment, so you're looking at Kyle Heath there. He's leading Ryan O'Donohue in the 14th. O'Donohue started second, and that's where he remains, and the difference in the front two spots is exactly what you're looking at. It's anywhere between 3 and 0.6 of a second, depending on where you're at. A little lockup there from O'Donohue. No harm, no foul. But that's the top two. You go back one more spot. That's the 88 of James Hodgson, and he's pretty much alone. He's got 4.5 seconds up the road to the two leaders, and he's got 4.5, 5 seconds back to Jacob Osterman. Those two were battling not too long ago, but there's Osterman. He is under fire from Adam O'Brien. Those are team cars with the Black Magic Studios, Dark Horse Performance within that team. So there's O'Brien following Osterman. We'll go ahead and show O'Brien there too, the 87. Good-looking Mustang for him. And then 6th is Jason Heaney. Now, he's made up 4 spots since the start of this thing. He started 10th. Heaney is now 6th. And you're going to have to go a long way back to this to Joseph Klein in 7th. Now, Klein has pulled out quite a bit over Nolan Milnes. He's 5 seconds.
He's kind of leveled out where he's at. You know, he was making a really big charge there, and he got up to Milnes. And now that he's cleared Milnes, he's just kind of settled in right here at 7th spot.
Yeah, he's losing time to O'Brien and Heaney, but I think he's gaining on Milner and Miller. Milner and Milnes and Miller. Say that 3 times fast. Speaking of Nolan Milnes, there he is. He's 8th in the number 1 Gatorade machine. So, you know, he's up 4 spots from where he started, highest 7th, but he's found his level in 8th, and he's being pursued by Andrew Miller in the 40. That is 9th position. A little bit of a lockup on the left front from Miller as he gets through turn number 12. Right off behind him, that was Brandon Bernier. Bernier is 2 laps in arrears. So the next car for position is Mark Cofield. Now Cofield, he's 5 and a bit seconds behind Miller even. And there is a battle of brewing here. Cofield started 5th. He's currently 10th. He's got...
Whoa, he really went wide right there. Brandon Bernier, he's many laps down, but he really went wide in front of this pack that's racing for position right here.
Yes, he did. We'll look off the nose of Mark Cofield, headed through that 13, 14, 15, 16 complex. We're going to grab a left, come up toward turn 19, and Bernier is having a lot of trouble getting the power down in that 21 machine.
It seems like he's missing a lot of his braking points.
Well, now he's coming back across the...
Yeah, there he goes, right in front of that pack.
Yeah, there he comes right across the front of the pack. Cofield's gonna.
Now that could be one of several things. It could be just his driving style is a late breaker. It could be that his brake bias is not set to a comfortable level for him because he is overdriving in a lot of these hard corners. And then, of course, there is the most reasonable explanation that he's just wanting to be courteous with the guys that are racing for position and get out of their way the best that he can.
You know, that's a good point. Another thing I'd like to point out is the nose on the 97 is a bit wrinkled, and so he's had contact with somebody.
Okay, I see it now, yeah.
He's had contact with somebody. We'll continue our march through the field because there's Lee Campbell. He's also up 4 spots in the number 44, the plain white wrapper for Lee Campbell. He's running along right here, and this is probably the largest battle on the course.
No question. This is the closest battle among several cars in the field.
It is. You see Lee Campbell. He's trying to get to the inside of Mark Cofield, and they've got an interested observer.
There goes Bernier around again.
Yep, Bernier went around again. We're going to stay with this. It is a road course, and it's run to essentially Formula One rules. So there's local yellows, but unless the track is blocked, Brian Sharp will not throw the yellow.
No, the only cautions that we should see are the stage brakes.
You got it, and that's going to be a run through the top 12 we will do the second set of 12 during the second stage. How about that?
I was just thinking about some of the comments you were making earlier. You and I were talking before the race, and one of the things that a lot of people they talk about COTA simply in these particular cars, just simply because the speed seems to be a little slower. It seems to be more methodical and mechanical in how these cars get around. But me being a driver, my appreciation for COTA has always been that there is so much room to work, and because there is room to work, you're able to kind of push the car in some way to see what's the most effective for you. You don't have to be like you were talking about earlier, that at street courses where you have to be absolutely perfectly precise every single lap in order to avoid catastrophe. But COTA does give you the benefit of a little bit of forgiveness.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in the road racing community that think that this and many of the other we're watching a whale of a battle between Mark Cofield
It
and
is
Lee
an amazing race, yes.
So heck of a race. You've got the 46, Edwin James, who has snuck into this thing alongside Zachary Wake. So we've got 4 cars in a tussle from 10th through 13th.
Cofield goes wide. That cuts down the momentum. Ooh, woo!
But there's a lot of thought in the driver community, the race fan community, that says that maybe this track is too forgiving, along with some of the newer Herman Tilke design courses in Europe and in the Middle East. That perhaps there's too much runoff, that it gives drivers too much forgiveness. After all, you run wide here at COTA, you don't run into gravel, you don't run into sand, and you don't get into grass. You run onto painted concrete. And so, yeah, it's safer, but there's not really a lot of consequence for not obeying the track limits. And I think that there's definitely a healthy balance to be struck there. I'm not saying we need to go to Monte Carlo every week where you've got to run an inch off the whoa. We got the 13 around, excuse me. It's number 15. It's the 13. It's the 13 on the scoring tree that Zachary Wake, and he caught.
Because Kyle Heath is 15.
Yeah, Kyle Heath is 15 on the scoring tree, 13 on the car. I think they've got Wake and Heath's number reversed. But watch what happens here to Zachary Wake, and this is a COTA special right here. He misjudges turn 4. He hits that sausage curb. It launches the left side of the car up in the air, and it just spins him right on out. And that's something that's kind of unique to COTA, but that's about all the consequence you'll have. It's not like, I'm not saying we should go to Monaco every week where you've got to run inch perfect off of the Armco and the track is exactly 3 inches wider than the car. I don't think that's the best of ideas. But there's definitely a happy medium, as we'll go back to the Lee Campbell, Edwin James, Mark Cofield fight. Edwin James snuck through Lee Campbell there, and so Edwin James has made his way into the top 10 or top 11, excuse me. And then give a call down to Colby Pierce. He ran really well at Daytona. He was running pretty. He did not attend Atlanta. He was pretty ill last week. But the 42 admin box machine is back on the track, and he's made his way into this fight as well. Although
I think some of what you're seeing too comes into play that what was mentioned in the pre-race discussion about tire wear, just simply because if there's another car off the track, the 25 is off the track. They're in 6A. Oh, and he spins right in front of someone else, almost hit T-bones the next car. Those leaders from 9th, 10th, 11th, they just miss him. That was entirely too close.
Yeah, we're going to go back and watch Braden Langley here. Here he goes. He takes 6A.
Wow, what a narrow place to miss catastrophe. That was just so close.
Yeah, that's probably the most narrow place on the course. He doesn't hit anything. He gets it going, and then he spins it out he
over throttles it trying to correct the car.
Yeah.
he spun it out, and then he was going to try and get it back on track and just used a little too much throttle. Oh my heavens, that was so close.
It was, and that was
Wow.
right in front of this battle. Meanwhile, Brian Wasserman has snuck in here, so we've got 5 cars really now. That's Cofield leading the train.
Mhm.
Edwin James in 11th, Lee Campbell 12th, Colby Pierce is 13th, Brian Wasserman is 14th. And we want to watch this. We want to watch this battle. It is the closest one on the racetrack. The battle for the lead has normalized.
It's actually spread out now. He seems to be finding the rhythm, and O'Donoghue has fallen back to over a 2-second space.
Yeah, I mean, and you're going to see that. You're going to see that here at COTA. You're going to see guys get really spread out. Even the short course here is expansive. It's 2.5 miles long. It's not short by any stretch. It's just not the Grand Prix course. You see the cutoff there that they're taking. It's just not the Grand Prix course.
I'd like to go back to what we were discussing just a few moments ago, as we were talking about the forgiveness of the track and the width and the ability to make small mistakes, and then of course drivers that are trying to utilize as much of the curbing as they can. But isn't that is the primary reasoning that race organizations such as NASCAR and so forth, they have put those spaghetti curbs in the apex of corners to keep drivers from overextending the utilization of those areas.
You're
Right?
You're completely right. I mean, they've started to do. We're watching the 46 Edwin James. He dives under Mark Cofield. So move Edwin James up to 10th, put Cofield back to 11th, and Edwin James now has some work cut out for him. He's 3 seconds and a bit behind Nolan Milnes. So Edwin James has gotten it going. Meanwhile, back closer toward the back, the 72 at John Hutchins is having an issue. That's going to move Scott Ford past Hutchins, and trying to follow him through is Zachary Wake. Wake going to make the move there.
Yep, he'll make that pass.
Still the best battle on the track is this one. It's still the
Michael Moquin did Michael Moquin? I don't think he posted a qualifying speed, did he?
There's Michael Moquin.
He's in 21st.
Yeah, he started 24th, so there were 8 to 10 guys that did not. So that would tell me that he did not. I believe he was the first car that did not post a speed. I believe.
Right.
But he's made up.
Just
3
curious
spots.
about how much ground he's made up.
Yeah, he's made up 3 spots. Like most of the cars, and he's got Michael Patrick right in front of him. Michael Prachek right in front of him. Excuse me. There are some wrinkles in the hood of the number 8. It actually might be worth trying to figure out how many cars have damage versus how many don't, to be honest.
Kyle Heath just laps the 24th position car of Brian Sharp.
Yep. There's Sharp. And there's Mr. Heath. Now we're going to keep our eye on Sharp and just kind of watch how these faster guys navigate through him. 14 Ryan O'Donoghue is going to go through. And it's not like Sharp needs to be given up a ton of time, because he's battling the 77 of Eric Corder and the 80 of Mark Allett, who are right behind him. That is for a position, right? So,
Right. Those cars are in very close proximity to one another, but knowing that the leaders are coming, and iRacing does have a passover flag, a passer flag that shows up on the screen and lets you know when the leaders are within a certain distance of you. And so they have to keep that in mind when the leaders get close enough, as well as trying to protect their own position, whether it's 24th, 25th, 26th, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right, and it's a championship, and these guys are all running the full slate.
Let's set the championship just aside for a moment, Mark. And you're a championship driver. You've won championships. You've won many races, but let's just cut to the chase and tell the truth. that if you are willing to come into an event and you know that you may not have the pace or the speed that the leaders do, whatever position that you can gain, you're going to race for it. And it's important to you. It would be to
Whoa,
me.
the 25 around again. He's right in front of Osterman and he's right in front of Osterman, Heaney, and Joseph Klein, all right there. That was a hairy moment. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
That's fine.
Didn't mean to cut you off. Watch this.
Oh, it's fine.
Watch this.
Woo!
He's going through. He's got Adam
Back
O'Brien.
on track.
Yeah.
Back on track right in front of them. Yeah.
So we're gonna take a moment for Braden Lang. It looked like he just kind of wheel hopped it going into turn 20 and right in front. And he's had a knack so far of spinning right in the most narrow of spots on the racetrack. There's really
most precarious of places.
Yeah, there's only two of them that are really you do not want to see a car sitting sideways. It's turn 20.
That it chokes down so much. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's the cutoff where he is now.
Yes, sir.
No, I mean, I viewed races like this. I will freely admit, I am not a good road racer. And so I always viewed these events when you're running them as part of a championship. Who would have thought the 13 of Kyle Heath, numbered 15 on the pylon, would be leading a race by 3.5 seconds. Scarecrow's Gaming says, "Oh, look out! Who saw that coming?" Well, pretty much everybody. There he is. He's about ready to cross the line and start lap 17 of 65. I viewed them as damage limitation. So the first rule of doing what Brian Sharp and those guys are doing back there.
Right. If I'm Brian Sharp or Eric COTA or any of the guys in those positions, Mark Owlett, if I'm any of those guys, nothing else on the course at that moment matters to me than the next position.
See, my thought on it.
I'm racing for that next position.
My thought on it was always do no harm, right? If I could come back from a road course event and I kept the shiny side up and kept all four wheels on it.
Sure.
I would be kind of content to let the chips fall. Now, granted, my experience and we continue to watch Kyle Heath, but let's flip it back to the James Campbell Miller Cofield battle, because they're catching Nolan Milnes too, and that's going to be a battle for 8th through 12th. So we'll watch this one. But I come from the open wheel side where you put a wheel off or you spin the car out, you make any kind of contact, your race is over. And so
yes, sir.
The road races on that side tend to be a lot more attritional. Here in the stock car, you spin it off and, you tap the wall or whatever. It's not that big of a deal. In those cars, you hit anything, you're broken and you're done. And so, I just try to limit damage. My goal is always the point structure in IndyCar is such that if you finish anything worse than 15th, so from 16th on back, you score the same amount of points. It doesn't matter whether you finish 25th, 15th.
Mark Cofield in that middle of that battle you just pointed out, he's just lost the back end of the car.
We're going to go show that
Sorry
one.
to cut you off there.
No, you're fine. You should.
He was right in the heat of that race that you were talking about, and he lost the back end.
Yeah, it's that. He got up on the sausage curb there.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the back, and it just turned him loose. So tough break for Mark Cofield, but you get the same amount of points whether you finish 15th or 25th. And so, my goal in those things is always finish. My goal in those things is always finish 15th or better. We had an Indy Elite race last Sunday night at Road America. I finished 12th, and I viewed that as a win.
Yeah.
So. It's all for me. It's all about setting tangible goals, and then attempting to reach them. The other thing that I was really proud of that race, I finished on the lead lap. And when you're running, in a field of, that's got 5 guys that were in the Butt Kicker Pro Series, finishing on the lead lap in a Grand Prix length race that's an achievement, right? Watching a 40, Andrew Miller gets some big air, and he just about went for a ride. Nolan Milnes continues to lead this train, but he has had
a lot of space there.
Yeah, he's well.
Brian Sharp has closed the pit lane.
Yep.
As we're getting close to the stage break.
So, I hope that answers your question. I know it's probably wasn't the answer you were looking for. Not really interested in positions as much as getting to the end.
I'm always interested in what other drivers' viewpoints are. I just know that, I'm not the most prolific road racer. I've won my fair share of road races. I'm not the most prolific at it, but I love them. I enjoy them so much. But I know, my skill level presents to me that wherever I'm at, of course, I want to keep the car clean, like you said, but I just want to race to the next position, then the next position, then the next position. There's an old saying where I come from, and whenever I'm trying to give people some good advice about going through tough times in their life, or even if it's something that you're trying to work toward, I always tell people, I always ask the question. I'll say, how do you eat an elephant?
Yeah. One bite
at a time.
Yeah.
And so nobody orders elephant when they go to the restaurant, and sometimes we don't want it on our plate. But if it's been presented to us and that's what's in front of us, then we eat it one bite at a time. And that's just kind of the philosophy that I handle a lot of my life things. And then racing, of course, is one of those things that I enjoy. And so it's the same thing, just one person at a time, one position at a time. And I can work with that. It helps my mindset.
For me, it's one lap, one corner, one sector at a time. Sometimes Kyle Heath is going to bring it around corner number 20. He is going to win the stage. The yellow does not come out here in AMA until P10 crosses the line for the stage. And so they keep racing until Brian Sharp throws the yellow flag, and the battle for that 10th spot is heated. Lee Campbell currently has it. Andrew Miller wants it. Colby Pierce would like some contact so he can take it.
Milnes is trying to get around Michael Kirk. Oh, my heavens.
Yeah, and
and that just closed everyone behind him up.
Now, Kirk's going to pull it over. He's going to let this group go.
Yes, he got out of the way. But look at the log jam that it caused.
Yeah.
So many of those cars. Edwin James sticks it in there. They're banging doors as they come down. Oh, my heavens.
James is not going to give this up. Now we're going to be too wide. Miller's going to spin it toward the pit
Miller
lane.
just about loses it. He saves the front end. They're going through this sharp left-hander to come up the straightaway, and Milnes has the position, and he will hold the position. Oh, wow, that was fun.
Now, I'm going to point something out as the 10th place car crosses the line. Colby Pierce snuck through Lee Campbell for 10th. Campbell tried to insert himself into this battle for 8th, and Colby Pierce got by.
How about that?
Colby Pierce got by Lee Campbell, and so
they just all log jammed up so much right there, trying to get around Kirk, and it slowed Milnes down, and then that just changed the strategy for James, who was adamant that he really wanted that spot.
Yeah. Now we've got Scarecrow.
You think that win last week motivated Edwin, or what?
Maybe. We've got Scarecrow. We've got Scarecrow's Gaming back in the chat. He wants to know if Ken Dale's in the booth. Ken Dale is not in the booth. He is doing other things this evening. Apparently, we weren't good enough to entertain him. So I believe he's out seeing a comedian or something. I'm sure he's watching a race on his phone, enjoying the coverage here on the P1 Broadcasting Network. But Scarecrows also mentions that there's an indie league that Kyle Heath is in, and I don't know about this indie league. So Scarecrows Gaming, you're gonna have to send me some messages in Discord about this FGR IndyCar league, when it is, when to show up. I might like to have a crack at that. I'm old and slow, but such is life. And now we've got major contact.
Now we've got contact on the track.
Yeah, that was interesting.
That was Colby Pierce. That got into the back of Edwin.
Yeah, so
James.
let's watch this here. Edwin James hits the one of Nolan Milnes. He checks up into Colby Pierce. Pierce gets in the back.
The caution had not yet come out.
No, it hadn't. Well, they do it at the completion of lap 20.
Yes.
So
Oh, wow. James runs into the back of Milnes. It was just a chain reaction from that point.
Yeah. Um, that's, I don't know if you put that on anybody. It certainly isn't on
Well,
Colby
Milnes is
Pierce.
asking questions.
I'm sure they're all asking.
I don't know if James just missed his breaking point, or I don't know. I don't know.
Well, it would have been Nolan Milnes that was leading that train that kind
Correct.
of, so either Milnes stopped short or Edwin James missed the breaking point. Either way, there's a
Yes.
3 or 4 car chain reaction. Edwin James most assuredly got the worst of that at the end of stage one.
No question. No question.
End of stage one, it's this man, Kyle Heath, who is your leader. And we're going to go ahead and bring him on up. Kyle Heath, you got Mark Murphy and Sam Crow in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
Yep, gotcha.
All right. So I don't see, I'm not out there, so therefore your car has no damage. What'd you think of that? Make of that first stage, and what do you do to keep that big lead going?
Try to take care of my stuff and try not to hit them turtles and get off too far off track. That's pretty much it. And try not driving in too deep. Ryan, he's pretty quick on a couple of those corners. Really be able to stay on me, but some of the other corners I was able to pull away. I don't know if he wore his stuff out or what, but he's still pretty darn fast.
Yes, he is. You're both pretty darn fast. You two had a couple of seconds, or you two had about 10 seconds in hand over James Hodgins, and James is a pretty handy road racer in his own right. So right now, you and Ryan are the class of the field. We'll let you get ready to do your pit stop, but enjoy, my friends. And I have a sneaking suspicion I'll be talking to you later.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're more than welcome. We'll get Kyle back in the first gear Discord here. There he goes. Drop him right back in. And I would assume, Sam, that we're going to have pit stops here. These cars can go about 30 laps on a tank of gas. There'd be no reason for them to stay out, would there?
No, especially if you have the stage break. I can't imagine why anyone would not want to get fresh rubber, considering how much abuse the rears take on takeoff. Because the course is so slow, and they're using lower gearing, that there will be a lot of wheel spin. As you saw, as the run went longer and longer, more cars began to try to cut the course and lost a lot of grip. And now, I mean, honestly, too, you look at the fact that Kyle and these leaders have lapped the field up to position 20. So now you have all these racers with half the field already a lap down, at least one lap down. Why not come get them?
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing it. The entire lead lap train coming down pit road, and this is good news for guys like Quarter and Aled and Kirk and Prachik, Langley. Those guys are a lap down.
I didn't think to look, but did anybody maybe take advantage of pitting 3 laps before this caution?
Nobody did, other than
That would have been interesting, because the track position, you wouldn't need fuel, so the track position would have made a difference.
well,
If I wonder if someone may, and I'm just throwing a hypothetical out there, but in the event that this run is the shortest of all the runs, in this particular run, if you pit 3 laps from the next stage break, you'll have only 3 laps on the tires,
and you'll be
and
able, yeah,
fuel, you'll hit the fuel window, and you get all that track position.
yeah, it's the Pocono strategy for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I'm interested to see if someone might take advantage of that.
It's the Pocono strategy for certain sure. Will Moore was the only car that pitted before the stage break, but he was also a lap down, and so it didn't help him.
Well, it's not a benefit to him. It's not a benefit.
Well, it's going to be a benefit in that he's going to get the wave around here. There are other cars that are going to have the wave around. However, they're also not going to be able to stop. Now, Brian Sharp was the lucky dog, and so Sharp will get to stop here
Mm-hmm.
this next time through. There are a number of cars, Edwin James, Brian Wasserman, Sean Merriman, Michael Moquin, that are parked on pit road taking a large amount of repair. There are no fast repairs in the American Motorsport Association. So if you wreck it, you got to fix it. And this course with its...
Get the wrenches out, boys.
Yeah, well, this track does take 3 minutes or so, or 3 minutes or more to lap under yellow. And so, if you're in the pit lane, if you've got a mandatory caution, why not come down pit road and take a huge bite out of those repairs?
Yes, sir.
Moquin, for example, he's been on pit road. 2 minutes. He's going to be almost 2 minutes in the box, and we are not quite yet. We're not quite yet all the way back around. So it's taken 2 minutes and oh golly, it'll take 2 minutes and 30 seconds probably by the time they get back. Up there. It's 2 minutes 15 seconds since Moquin got on pit road. There you see the flag stand, but the flag stand is not where the start-finish line is. The start-finish line is up the road a little bit. Now we're seeing wave around.
There go your wave around cars.
Yep. Moquin did exit the pit lane, so we're gonna get. We'll get it. I'll give you an idea. He was in his box for 2 minutes and 6 seconds. Is how much
he was utilizing as much of that caution period to fix damage as possible.
Yeah, and there were a lot of guys that did that. Zachary Wake, again, Wasserman, Merriman, Colby Pierce took a 1:30 pit stop.
Mm-hmm.
Moquin was in 2 minutes. Edwin James, the 46, he was in for 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Of course, he was higher up the running order than Moquin, so that makes sense that he would be in the pit lane longer. Again, Brian Sharp has not yet stopped. I'm assuming that we will see Brian come down the pit lane, maybe? No, there he is. He's rejoined the back of the field, so don't guess that Brian is going to make the pit stop.
Those wave around cars, they've got a long way to go to catch up to the back of this field for the restart.
Yeah, I mean, they're 30 some odd seconds behind. Now, I don't necessarily think you'd be saving fuel, but Kyle Heath and this crew, they're already getting close to the backstretch.
They sure are.
They, this group, and
they're
it's
coming up the
they're just
now, yeah.
they're just coming up the front straight. Keith Ayers is. Moquin's another 20 seconds behind them. So these boys need to get a move on if they're going to catch the back of this field.
Did you get a time on the drivers that were there in the incident before the caution? Edwin James and Milnes and the others that were Campbell that were in that incident.
As far as time on the pit lane,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, Edwin James, significant repair, 2 minutes 15 seconds.
That's what you called it. Called it.
Yeah. Now Campbell, he had light damage. He was there 18.1 seconds. Colby Pierce was also involved in that. He took 1:30 of repair. Now that's all going to be optional, so you don't know, who's actually got
the
damage.
extent, right?
Yeah, you don't
That's
know,
exactly right.
Did he just have a bent fender or something, and they just pulled it out real quick, or is it more extensive than that? You don't know. But yeah, Edwin James, he took as much repair as he could get out of that.
Or all that was needed.
Or all that was needed. You don't necessarily know.
We don't. We really don't know. They're not making a lot. There's some chatter going on in the in-race chat, but there's not a lot of information.
There is.
We're coming up the front stretch for the restart.
We are
Oh, and
indeed.
Kyle decides he's not going to wait.
Green flag.
Kyle says, I want my lead back.
Yeah, and that's a good illustration right there. We're going to watch him fly into.
Oh, Osterman really sticks it in there 3 wide. Oh, and he gets into the 88 of James Hodgson.
And we have the track blocked.
Oh, no.
We have the track completely blocked. It is a parking lot there at the top of the hill. And
Oh no!
we need to go back and watch. We need to go back and watch this because it is a massive mess, and we're going to start.
Edwin James is losing it as well. Even as we're speaking, he's already trying to catch the field, and he loses it in one, and he spins out. And then Andrew Miller gets into the back of the 25, spins him out in turn 6. Cars are scrambling all over the place. A lot more action on this restart than the first restart, or the first start of the race, I mean.
Yeah, you see it. Poor, the poor 13 of Zachary Wake. He gets made into a sandwich. So you kind of see where it starts up here. That's Osterman going 3 wide.
Oh my heavens! Once it gets
blocked,
it
there's
reminds
nothing.
me a little bit of Dover. When I know it's an oval, but when there's a wreck on the back stretch or the front stretch of Dover, forget it. You just can't get by.
No. Well, and you're under heavy braking there. You're under heavy braking, and you can't. The car's all loaded up. You really can't turn it all that well, and
Right.
the track gets blocked, and there's not really much of a way you can navigate around it. It's not. I don't think that guys were trying necessarily to pile in the back of Zachary Wake. They're already at maximum steering lock. It's not, in extremely slow speed. You just don't really have anywhere to go. Meanwhile,
No.
Adam O'Brien has decided to go. He's made it his way past Joseph Klein. So put Adam O'Brien in the 87 in the third place. That'll please the boss man, Andy Dunwoody, as he, seeing his car up
It'll
toward.
be the first thing that Andy asks if he jumps into the chat. Where are my cars?
Well, he's currently trying not to drop a bowling ball on his left foot. So,
Well, we can't have Dunwoody limping. That's for sure.
well, it'd probably be an improvement in his driving. Anyway, Adam O'Brien is a handy road racer. He's teamed with me in the 24 Hours of Daytona, for example. So I know
I've heard stories. I have.
Yeah. So the Cone Man is currently third, but he's a handy road racer in his own right. Probably pretty underrated. Of course, he drives micro sprints and slingshots in his spare time over there in Eastern PA, and so enjoying watching.
I noticed who's up here in 6th place. We haven't said a lot about Scott C. Ford, and so Scott C. Ford Jr. is up here racing in 6th.
He is.
Milnes, despite all the action that he's seen in the last 5 or 6. Oh my heavens! A big dive into the last corner there, almost a wreck. But Milnes has actually worked this way up to 7th.
Oh,
despite the contact that Osterman had with Hodgson, he's in 8th. This is good racing behind him. This is really good racing.
We're not done with the action here. They're 2x2 coming up the front straight.
Wow.
Everybody.
Did you see how light the car got on Cofield right there? As he came out of 1, and just how light the car got, and he about lost the back end.
Yeah, I mean, and that's that's a function of the corner. It's going uphill. It's a sharp corner, and it's
that elevation change.
Well, and then there's another elevation change on exit, and the track. So the corner is not only an elevation change in the corner at the apex, but the track is also falling away from you off camber right there. It's very difficult to get power down, even for a high downforce car. If you're in a Formula One car, an Indy car, if anybody out there has raced the Dallara IRO 1 around here, it's difficult to get that thing through there, and that car basically has unlimited downforce, right? It's faster than the current Formula One car. So
wow,
it's a difficult corner for sure, and that's why you see a lot of guys go through there. They take it at a very wide angle, watching Cofield, and we'll kind of watch. Well, Cofield's the back end's light on his machine everywhere. I think he's
going to make a move here. Oh,
well, he's trying.
He was going to I thought he got a little loose coming off that apex there.
Yeah, I think Cofield's cooked the rear tires. Of course, as we say that, Sean Merriman's going to dive the inside of John Hutchins. Hutchins is going to.
He's got a handful now. Hutchins is definitely on the wheel.
Yeah, he has. Let's get on the roof of Sean Merriman. And what I mean to say is watch here. So he gets up to the top of the hill, He's going to make the left. There's the apex, and then on exit, the track just goes away.
Well, momentum that you want to carry, you want to utilize as much of the track as you possibly can there. So when you're on the inside, your natural instinct is to cut as much of that corner off as you can. And you so eloquently described the track condition that prevents you from putting the throttle down when you're trying to take so much of the inside line away.
Yeah, and so what I like to do through there, and we'll stay on board with Merriman because he's going to have a move here on Cofield at
and now
any
they're
moment.
spinning. Oh,
That was Hodgins around.
yes, and got into Lee Campbell.
Okay, so Hodgson, he's going to make the dive toward Lee Campbell into 12. There's the contact.
Big bite he took right there.
He tried it.
He did,
but he wound up using the back end of Lee Campbell to stop. Around they both go. So that's going to drop James Hodgson to 13th, Lee Campbell to 15th. It does break that pack up a little bit. Meanwhile, we've been talking about other people, and I think Kyle Heath and Ryan O'Donohue got kind of jealous because Ryan O'Donohue has ripped off a couple of really fast laps. He was a half a second and 0.3 of a second the last 2 laps quicker than Kyle Heath, and he's pulled right up onto the rear bumper of the 13 machine of Kyle Heath. It's number 15, I know. We're going to go on board here and kind of look at what Ryan O'Donohue is seeing, and you should be able to hear. You can hear him playing with the throttle. You can also see the steering wheel visibly how much he's fighting this car.
so much input. Yes, so much input.
That's why Dale Jr. always wore white gloves, and I'm a huge fan of white gloves in stock cars. By the way, I want to see their hands sawing on the wheel.
I thought when we had Kyle in the booth here, I thought he really called the race as we're watching it. It does seem that since Kyle's up front, it gives him the benefit of running his line, his pace, and he can try to save as much of the tire as he can and still keep the speed that he would like to keep. Whereas in many instances, drivers like O'Donohue may feel like that he has to push the car a little bit more in order to try and make the pass,
or just to keep up.
Yeah, I thought it was just well said by Kyle Heath that he would come, that he was really telling us exactly what we're seeing on the screen. He said that O'Donohue was faster in certain sections of the course, and that he's paying attention to those areas. It's funny that even the car behind you pay close attention to the intervals and try to figure out, okay, where is he strong? Where am I strong? How can I utilize that to my benefit?
You do. Now, there's something you saw it from Kyle Heath, and we're going to jump up to Kyle Heath's car and just kind of note the difference, if there is any, in the amount of input that he's given. But I wanted to kind of point out, Sam, his line through turn number 1, which is a little bit different than most of the others. And just as I say that, he wheel hops it and slides through 12. But no,
Kyle's going to leave you guessing.
Yeah, no harm, no foul, right?
Exactly.
But I'll get back up on the roof when he gets up to the front straight. And the reason I'm going to do that is Kyle Heath takes the line that I like through there. At least he did last time, where he does a very late apex, and he tries to just shoot almost straight off the corner. So that deal where the track is falling away from you and falling off the table as you're trying to put the power down. If you late apex that thing and you're straight coming off the corner, it doesn't bother you as much, and it doesn't use as much tire. So, as promised,
well, the less steering input that you have when you're getting into the throttle, the less usage that you put into the tires.
Yeah. No, you're
and that goes for the front tires as well as the rear tires.
Now what? See how?
Because if the wheel's straight, you don't get as much wheel spin as you would if there's load on those tires in a lateral movement.
Yeah. See, and he just did it. So he was complete. He had the wheel completely straight before he hit the accelerator. And he doesn't have, because of that, he doesn't have a lot of the wheel spin. And I'm sure Kyle hears us talking about him because previous to this, he has not put a wheel wrong. He has wheel hopped and hit a sausage curb since we went on board with him. So Kyle, we'll get out of your car and let you get back to work.
Kyle's like, the weight is killing me. Get out.
We are halfway through this stage.
That was Stroker Ace, wasn't it? Where one of the mechanics fell asleep in the car. What movie was that?
It wasn't Stroker Ace. Stroker Ace, they left Burt Reynolds thought they left tools in the car.
I thought there was a movie. Oh no, that was Elvis Presley Speedway.
Yes.
That was the Elvis Presley stock car movie where the father-in-law had fallen asleep in the car. I did promise the fans out there that we were going to go through the second 12 out here, and so this is a good place to do it. We've reached kind of a lull. There's Brian. I love it. Go for it. I love it.
Brian Wasserman in the 57. He is currently 13th. Trevor Benz in the 10, he's numbered 10. It's 3 on the car, but Trevor Benz, he's made up 4 spots, so good on Trevor Benz. He's 14th. Andrew Miller, we've talked about actually quite a bit today. He has been around the action for most of the evening, but the number 40.
Every race, it seems like every race, if you want to see where the action is, look for the 40. And I mean that in the most respectful way. I don't mean that he's a wreck waiting to happen. It just seems like that he's either working his way up through the field, fighting for the lead, or he's near where the heavy action is on the racetrack.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Lee Campbell was backwards not so long ago. He had made a lot of progress, but the contact put him back to 16th.
Oh, Andrew Miller.
And now they're going to hit, and now they're going around.
Right into turn 1.
At least we don't have
Campbell.
Lee Campbell. Yeah, we don't.
Gets into the door, Andrew Miller, but Miller locked him up going into 1.
Yeah, he did. Slid wide, and Andrew Miller just had nowhere to go, and that let through Michael Moquin, who has made his way up to. It says currently 17th. He is now 15th. That'll reset when we get back to the finish line.
Yes, sir.
Michael Moquin's made up 9 spots, and he's being chased down by what has to be a disappointed Colby Pierce. Colby finished 10th in that first stage. He got involved in a mess not of his own doing.
I think he was in that deal with Edwin James where where you were talking about how you felt like he had received a bunch of damage.
Well,
because if I'm not mistaken, it was Edwin James running into the back of Milnes, and then Colby ran into the back of James.
Yeah, Colby had a minute. He was on pit lane for a minute and a half.
There you go. Yeah.
So he did get some damage. Now he's going to get into the back of Michael.
He gets into the back of. Oh, it's such a checkup there, right in front of Andrew Miller and the rest of the field.
It is. Pierce is going to get away with it.
Mike Moquin is not happy.
I'm sure he isn't, but put Colby Pierce.
Pierce is apologizing profusely.
Yeah, I mean, it could have just been he missed his braking marker by just a little bit. Meanwhile, Edwin James is going to try to go around him, and we'll stick with this battle because there goes Edwin James, and you can see the damage on the 46. He was the longest on pit road under that last caution. Colby Pierce is going to give best to Miller, as well as Lee Campbell going down the front.
Now, all of this has been within a lap where Miller goes into 1. He locks him up. He gets spun out by Campbell. Then he gets back around him and passes all these other cars that are fighting for the position, and they wreck again. Edwin James is sideways in turn 1. Wow.
Turn 1.
It's only lap 33, Mark. It's only lap 33.
We are halfway. We're halfway, right?
I love it.
We're barely halfway. I'm losing track of who we've talked about and who we haven't.
I don't know what to watch. It's amazing.
Let's go to Zachary Wake. He is 17th.
I love it.
He is 17th out there. So Zachary Wake, again in one of the misnumbered cars, he is now right behind Colby Pierce. We've talked about Michael Moquin. Who we haven't talked about is Keith Ayers. Keith Ayers, and he kind of glitches out on us. does it again. But there's Keith Ayers. He's running along in 19th.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, there he is. Edwin James and Lee Campbell. We've talked about them.
It's always the quiet ones.
Yeah, it always is. Scarecrows says the white car is dangerous. I don't think it's so much that Lee Campbell is dangerous, but the danger has found him. Will Moore is in the number 30. It's numbered 39, but he scored as the number 30. So there's Will. A lot of these guys have trading paint stamped numbers on their cars. Behind him, in the running order, Mark Allett. We have not mentioned his name. He was up front quite a bit in the 2 restrictor plate races in the 80. He runs 23rd, maybe one of those guys that's just trying to collect some points. Michael Prachik in the 34.
This is interesting. If you want to go back and see something interesting, go back and look at the battle between Cofield and Nolan Milnes as they come out of the last turn up the straightaway.
Well, let's see if we can get. Oh dear. Okay. So they're coming up. They're coming up the main. So this is what Sam was talking about. They're coming up the main straight. The 97 and the 1. They're side by side. They're going to door each other. Around they go. Through goes the 88 of James Hodgson, and a bit of synchronized spinning. Cofield hard into the inside wall.
I don't think that there's a lot of side draft here at COTA.
No, and I don't know. I don't know. Pray tell why you would want to be that close. Cofield gets the worst of it. He hammers the inside wall with the rear of that car, and as they would say in the movie Stroke Race, if this were real life,
let me stop you just for a second because we just had a pass for the lead.
Okay, so there's Ryan O'Donohue, Kyle Heath, and we're going to go back and get it.
There's so much action going on, and you're just trying to cover so much. And Kyle Heath has been so strong. And then I was running through the field and noticed that O'Donohue has actually gotten around him.
Yeah, there you go. So he's out of. He's going to be out of 6 up to. No. That's at 19 and 20. So he's out of 19. Mm-hmm. He gets the run into 20, grabs the inside, and Ryan O'Donohue is going to slip city doodah past Kyle Heath. Now Heath is going to try to fight back on the outside, and remember he's got that line where he gets a tremendous run out of turn number 1. O'Donohue goes up, slams the door. He's not going to let him do it. Heath is not willing to outbrake himself, and
Heath is not going away quietly.
No,
I'm just telling you, he's coming back for this spot.
We just went back live just in time to see Kyle Heath get the run up the inside going into turn number 1, and we'll see if Ryan O'Donohue can cross him back over. He will not be able to do so. So Ryan O'Donohue got to lead 1 lap. He will not lead any more than that. Kyle Heath back to the front here at Circuit of the Americas. 36 of 65 laps complete. Do want to thank our sponsor for the series, Black Magic Studios. If you need iRacing paints or any sort of photography services in the sim, go ahead and talk to Andy Dunwoody, Colby Pierce, Brian Sharp, all the gang over at Black Magic Studios. That's paint that's worth 2/10. Also do have some other wonderful partners in this series, and for the league really. You've got Archway Industrial Coatings. They sponsor the premier level here, which is the Truck Series. Admin Box, which is race control at the touch of a button. They are longtime supporters of the AMA. You got to thank Track Racer and Rogue Energy Drink as well. So do appreciate the support. Also, for those of you out there watching, if you haven't already done it, make sure you click like on the video and subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell. Those are the 2 easiest ways that you can support us here at the P1 Broadcasting Network. Sam, we are currently in our drive for 1,000 as we watch the battle for the lead. Did you know that?
1,000 subscribers.
1,000 subscribers, and that's huge because if you're able, for those of you who don't know out there, if you're able to get to 1,000 subs, not only does your channel get monetized, and that means that we can actually afford to pay Sam in something other than sandwiches, but not
Well,
only
we Sasquatch. We'll eat leaves if we have to.
not only that, but it's YouTube viewership is in large part based on an algorithm that places your video in people's in order of operation when people log in. If you get to 1,000, you move way up in that algorithm, and so it'd be a huge deal for us. We also know that about half the people out there do not subscribe to the channel that watch the stream, so it is free. If you haven't done it, ring the bell to subscribe to the P1 Broadcasting Network. Still working lap 37. Kyle Heath has pulled away a little bit. Would it surprise you to know, Sam, that there is once again a battle for position on the track? It involves Michael Moquin, Andrew Miller, Edwin James, Keith Ayers, and Lee Campbell. Those cars are all right together on the speedway.
Oh my heavens! But it's been Michael Moquin and Colby Pierce. It seems like that they cannot get away from each other in this race. And Andrew Miller never ceases to amaze me that he, even in adversity, he finds that he's going to race himself right back where he was. This is a good battle here. This really, and Edwin James, of course, you can see his car has a lot of battle scars from all the contact that he's had today, but still, he took a big chunk out of the turtle there.
Turtle, yeah.
And another big chunk out of the turtle, but still, nonetheless, he keeps trucking. This is a great battle going on right here.
Yeah, and it's not as though that we're focusing on this battle because we want that these guys are our buddies or something. Michael Moquin's going to take it. Looked like he was going to take it to the outside of Colby Pierce. That opened the door for Andrew Miller. Meanwhile, around goes the 46th of Edwin James. I think Edwin got one too many pieces of those curbs over there, and he also had some help. It may appear he got shouldered out a little bit from the 98. The 98 being Keith Ayers.
Yeah, and Keith had told him he was sorry for the contact.
Yeah, a little bit of contact, but I don't know that the contact was the whole thing there.
Not really. The incident of him spinning was not necessarily the contact from Ayers. It seemed innocent enough.
Yeah, I mean that was more wheel spin on exit, I think. The battle between Moquin and Pierce, though, continues to rage. Michael Moquin.
Well, it was just a few laps ago that these two got together.
It was, and you see the wrinkles in the Colby Pierce machine and the Michael Moquin car from that contact, and so both those cars have seen better days in terms of the straightening of the fenders. Colby Pierce has a rear bumper right now that looks like it was designed by Gary Nelson to be on the back of a Bobby Allison Buick. For those of you longtime NASCAR fans out there.
Well, it's really tight between these three right here. And then the next positions are not that far behind. So what happens is if anything occurs within these three positions with Colby Pierce in 15th, and then, of course, Michael Moquin 16th, and then Andrew Miller 17th, if anything happens as close as these cars are, then you have drivers like Keith Ayers, Lee Campbell.
Whoa, we got one around.
And Zachary Wake. They can actually overtake these positions.
We got Adam O'Brien around. He has lost fourth place to Joseph Klein.
No.
So here's O'Brien. He's going into turn number 1. He's at the top of the hill. And I think he outbroke himself. He attempted to use 8 wheels better than 4, and he got it. He did not go all the way around. He did go perpendicular in the track. He just kind of got a little bit of a door slam.
If you notice Klein's entry, that high entry, low exit,
mm-hmm.
And that is so tempting. That is so tempting when you're the follow car that you just really want to stick it in there when you see someone taking that particular line.
It is indeed.
I mean, it is like dangling a carrot in front of a horse, a thoroughbred horse. It really is.
Moquin has now gotten past Pierce, as has Andrew Miller. We'll go back to this battle. And there goes Pierce right underneath Andrew Miller, who almost runs over the back of Michael Moquin. I think Jacked it up a little bit.
One. No kidding.
My goodness. This is by far
Because Miller gets into the back of Pierce and almost spins him on the front stretch.
He does. Now we're watching this, and I don't mean
Pierce comes back. Oh wow, that was so close.
I don't mean to take away from the guys leading this thing. We're going to go back to them here in just a moment because we are working lap 40. Colby Pierce now going to go to the inside of Michael Moquin, locks it up over the top of the curb. Keith Ayers gets past Andrew Miller in the background. Moquin locks up the tires. That's going to let Colby Pierce get close to have another go. But we do want to get back to the lead because Kyle Heath is in traffic, and that has allowed Ryan O'Donoghue to close right back up on the back of the 13. And we are coming to the end of the stage, Sam.
We're certainly waiting for the flag to fly here soon, but again, you have to complete lap 40, and then the field has to catch up, and then, as you were saying earlier, 10th place has to it's actually at lap 41 by all technical rights.
Well, you complete lap 40. On the pylon, it's going to say 41, because that's the lap they're on, not the lap completed.
Yes, sir.
So,
and now Miller has lost it coming out of the last turn on the front stretch, but once again, he keeps the nose pointing in the right direction.
Well, we're going to take a look at it. Here's Andrew Miller. He's diving under the 98 of Keith Ayers. Ayers has the preferred line. He goes to turn in. Miller gets it up on the curb. I believe we're going to have contact, and we do, and around goes Andrew Miller. Ayers saves it. Give the best seat in the house on that one to Lee Campbell, who moves into 16th. We'll get back live here because Kyle Heath has stretched it.
Andrew just used up all the racetrack right there.
He used up the racetrack. He used up the car next to him. We still do not have yellow, so these guys still have to race.
We do not.
Until the yellow. There is no real battle for 10th. There's no real battle either for any of these spots. Adam O'Brien
has spread out a little bit more now. Yes.
It has. Now, Adam O'Brien, by the way, has made up the time from his slide earlier and has gotten back around Joseph Klein. So put O'Brien into third, and here comes Ryan O'Donoghue to the outside of Kyle Heath.
Ryan Wasserman just makes the pass on Sean Merriman right before the caution. Or excuse me, it's Sean. Sean Merriman makes the pass.
Merriman makes the pass. You're right, and so. There's your top 10. Kyle Heath is going to be the stage winner over Ryan O'Donoghue, and we're gonna go grab Ryan O'Donoghue if we can, because I think that might be a decent interview.
I'd be interested to hear his observations. Sure,
I would too if he was in the Discord, but I don't have Ryan O'Donoghue in the Discord, and so Ryan, if you're out there, if you want to pop into one of these. If you want to pop into the waiting room or something like that, we'd be happy to talk to you. Let's get...
Ryan is actually in the Gen No Talk. He doesn't have a microphone.
Okay. Gen No Talk. It's Keith Ayers.
He's in the same room with Eric Corder.
Yeah, and they're muted, so...
Yes.
That would mean they don't. Have microphones. You know what? How about we talk to Michael Moquin real quick?
That'll make an interesting conversation as well. He or Nolan Milnes.
Michael Moquin, you've got Mark Murphy and Sam Crow in the P1 Broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, I tell you what, it's been an eventful evening for you. I think you've had a little bit of something of everything. The front's been scuffed, the back's been scuffed. You've been in the back of this deal. You've worked your way toward the top 10. You finally made it to a stable place around 14th or 15th. What's the plan to get this thing in the top 10 or higher toward the end of this race?
Just keep doing what I'm doing and just keep driving smooth. Biggest thing is just not over driving it. And kind of watching out for the little bit of dive bombs that have been happening. I know I have a little bit of enemies out right now, and since obviously I'm coming in 3 points above everybody, and yeah, it's just try to keep it smooth and keep driving. I'm not strong at road courses, and it's been a handful all night, but we're slowly working our way forward, and that's all I've been asking for all night.
Yeah, well, you're doing a pretty doggone good job of it. Keep the shiny side up and the rubber on the pavement, and good luck to you the rest of the day. Michael Moquin, we're going to move him back down with his team because I'm sure that he's got things to discuss with those teammates. I don't think we're going to have time to grab anyone else because we're looking at pit stops as soon as they come back around, Sam.
Right, and because of the waiver rounds, I thought that we would have more cars back on the lead lap, but we're still at 20 cars on the lead lap, and then I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Will Moore should get the lucky dog.
Will Moore is going to get the lucky dog. That's exactly right. So Will
But
should
no
be.
no one that I'm aware of bit into my strategy about pitting with 3 laps before, or did they?
I don't see anybody who did, other than Brian.
Who is behind the pace car?
That's going to be, I believe, Will Moore.
That is Will Moore. Okay, all right, that's Will Moore. I thought maybe someone had thought they would try it.
Nope, that's going to be Will Moore. I would have tried it if I was listening to the broadcast. There's Kyle Heath. He's
The track position would have been
right. You know,
interesting.
my fear of that is, you know, you get the track position, sure. We're going to watch him come off the pit lane. You get the track position, sure. But can you keep it, and can you keep it in such a way that you're not going to get run over? So like if I'm, you know, let's pick a random guy. Let's say I'm, you know, we just talk to him. We'll say we're Michael Moquin here, right? Moquin's best lap of this race is about 3 seconds slower, 2.5 seconds slower than Kyle Heath and Ryan O'Donohue. And so, yeah, I mean, I can get up there. You know what I mean? We can pull strategy and get on up there. The question is going to be, once I get up there, you know, when we go down into turn 1, am I just going to get punted out of the way? Right? And at that point, is it worth it?
But you also have to take into consideration that drivers like Moquin have actually been racing through so much traffic, it affects his lap time so much. I mean, if you have less traffic in front of you, you may have a tendency to want to push the car a little bit harder and run a faster lap. I mean, there's a lot of factors that play into it. If, you know, you always take a chance of being run over, even with cars that are slower than yours. As we had Michael Moquin up here talking about he's watching for a lot of cars that are trying to really dive bomb into the corners and make up positions in that way. So, you know, even in the middle of the pack, you're going to face this specter of cars overtaking you, over driving, locking the brakes up, using up the racetrack, using up your door. I mean, you're going to
using
take that
up your rear
risk anyway.
bumper. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, front bumper, rear bumper.
No, I get that too. It's, you know, that was always the thing that I get scared of is, okay, if I get out front and I'm slower, am I just going to get moved? You know, and
well, isn't the road racing rule that I was always told by really good road racers that I've raced with over the years? The rule was you run your line and let the fast guys work around you. Just run your line, and they'll, if they're fast and they're proficient drivers, they'll work around you.
I think that rule works on ovals as well. The lights are off the pace car, so we are 1 lap to green. I really wish that,
and that'll give us less than 20 laps on this run, less than 20 laps, And if this restart is even remotely as good as the last restart, you folks need to just stay tuned. I notice our viewer count has gotten a little higher. You've come at a really good time. So this next time by, when we take the green flag, it's going to be Katie bar the door going into one, because these guys are going to want to make up as much position on this restart as they can make up. This is the place where you make up spots.
Yep, and that's exactly where we're going to watch the restart from. Is going to be, we're going to put the camera right here, Sam, which is the wide angle of turn one. So we're going to get to see the entire thing. I'll tell you what, I'm even going to turn the scoring pylon off. I don't want anything to disturb that view that we're about to have of this restart.
Let's have some fun with it.
Right
I like
here.
It. That's good, Mark. That's great.
100%.
I will tell you this too. You're so proficient at open wheel racing, and of course, a lot of my history is in the stock cars and NASCAR racing and such. Having these fenders on the car certainly does give you a different perspective of how hard you want to drive it in there. I don't know what it is about having fenders, but I'm a little more ginger when I know I don't have anything protecting those tires. But these guys, they know they have these fenders and bumpers on these cars.
Yeah, they do. And they're not.
They know they're there.
They know they're there, and a lot of these guys are not. Again, a lot of them, immediately Adam O'Brien and Brian Sharp come to mind, just because I know them so well.
What a great comeback by Adam O'Brien.
Yeah, but these guys are short track, dirt track racers. They are aware of the bumpers, and they do know how to use them if needed. And so, we're liable to see some of that as we get down toward the end. We're going to get the restart with 21 laps to go here at Circuit of the Americas. We're on the NASCAR course, so this is the short course, just in case everybody out there wonders. You're not going to see them go down that super long back straight. And Sam and I are going to take a seat right here at the top of the hill, and we're going to watch this field wind their way up through. And you're not going to miss any of the action. This would be the view that you would have if you were sitting right behind the fence at the top of the hill.
This is going to be good.
You're going to see the car.
Two things to point out here. One is that the last two races that we've had, the winner only led one lap, and it was the last lap. And the other thing to point out is that it looks like we're going to have a new winner this week.
Yep.
If the current trends continue.
Here they come. Okay, so Heath gets through. Heath does not get through.
Big run. Oh, they both have. They check up hard. Edwin James sticks it in there incredibly hard. Oh, my heavens. O'Donoghue and Heath both.
And look who's leading the race. That's Adam O'Brien. He sneaks through in the 87.
Adam O'Brien.
He sneaks through in the 87. Jason Heaney in the 9 is going to be second. Joseph Klein is now third. O'Donoghue gets ahead of Kyle Heath. He's in fourth. And Heath dropped all the way back to fifth. And we've got
and here's the thing is that I know O'Donoghue has been as quick, if not just as fast or faster than Heath on the early run. Heath seems to have the long run car and the speed, but O'Donoghue really seemed to keep pace with him very well in the early stages of the run. So it's going to be interesting to watch these two cars work up. But you've got drivers like Klein and O'Brien and Heaney who have run a very consistent, steady race all night long. So it's going to be really good to see how this is going to play out in the next 20 laps.
You know it is. And Jason Heaney, his best lap 141.274. That's not exactly slow. He's been the closest one all night to the pace of O'Donoghue and Heath. They're trying to work around Joseph Klein, who is third in the number 7, and they're not having a very easy time doing it. And here comes Kyle Heath.
O'Donoghue really had to check up for Klein. He was going to stick it in there on the last turn, but he really slowed his momentum down and gave Heath an opportunity to get by him.
All right, here we go. Here's that wide shot one more time. Kyle Heath dives it down to the inside, and he's
made the pass. Oh, what a pass. Great driving.
He makes it stick, and now he'll go to work on Klein. Got to thank Whiplash Sim Cams for these wonderful pictures as they come to you from the virtual Circuit of the Americas NASCAR course. We're watching Kyle Heath give everything he's got to third place Joseph Klein. Heath and O'Donohue have led the entirety of the first two stages. They are now fourth and fifth, and the reason that they're fourth and fifth is, if anybody out there remembers the first NASCAR race after they reintroduced the Roval, where they had that late race restart, everybody ran down into turn one and forgot that they had to brake. That's kind of what that reminded me of.
It did seem that they really were. You could tell those two guys were very hungry for this win, and so they really drove it in deep.
They most certainly
There
did.
goes Klein for a move for second place around Heaney.
He's going to have the
That
move.
opens the door for Heath because that'll slow Heaney's momentum down, and here comes.
Well, Heath had to check up.
Wiser of it. He sure did.
He had to check up. I think he's going to wait until they get back to the top of the hill here.
There's plenty of time here for those drivers. There's plenty of time. Heath really is mastering that last corner.
Yeah, he's got to the inside of Jason Heaney. Here they come toward turn number one. Is Heath going to get himself one more?
Oh, he thought about it. He certainly thought about it. And it looks like O'Donoghue's going to get around. He's going to move. Oh, he's going to do a crossover here, maybe.
Oh,
he's going to fall in line through the S's.
Yeah, he wasn't quite close enough to make that.
No sense in risking it. Don't risk it this early.
No, you still got 19 to go. You've got plenty of speed. Just don't hit that turtle that hard. My goodness, we almost had liftoff from the 14. And, that slowed him down so much so that he's fallen into the clutches of James Hodgson in sixth. We're going to get back to Kyle Heath because he has closed right now, right up on the back of the 7. Meanwhile, Ryan O'Donoghue is steaming through these corners, very aggressive on the lines. There he goes underneath.
Ever since the pass, when Heath passed him, it seems like he's getting caught in just the wrong places.
Well, now he's through.
Heaney gets a little loose there, and he relinquishes the spot, and Hutchins takes advantage of that as well.
Yep, there he is. Now we'll watch Kyle Heath. He, as you pointed out,
I'm sorry, James Hodgson. I'm sorry.
No, you're totally fine. Heath, as you have alluded to, is the master of turn 20. This time he swings it to the outside of Joseph Klein. That's not been his preferred position. Still wide.
Oh, and they make contact. Klein and Heath make contact coming out of one.
Yeah, they weren't able to quite make it. They do touch. Klein maintains the position. That's going to let Adam O'Brien extend his lead out to as much as a second right now. Joseph Klein had been there.
Oh, Klein gets a whole lot of turtle there.
Yeah, and that's something you notice. Kyle Heath has not touched the turtles, except for the one instance where we were on board with him.
Right, and there was one other instant when he actually spoke in chat. He actually hit the mic and said, "I hit the turtle."
Yeah.
So I know that there was at least one other occasion. That was right after he took the lead back from O'Donoghue.
Yes, but other than that, we have not seen Kyle Heath be on those turtles near as much as some of his competitors.
His race has been incredibly smooth tonight. Looks like Jason Heaney has some fans in the chat tonight.
Yes, he does. JK the legend, go number 9. We appreciate you tuning in. I do want to thank everybody who is tuning in. This is a pretty good crowd for a road race.
Our viewership has just continued to go up ever since we got into this last stage. It's fantastic. And there goes Heath, right as clockwork, just like clockwork.
Well, Klein's going to try to cross him up. Here
decides
comes
to do a crossover. Oh, and he's going to make it stick. Klein has decided he is not giving up anything easily tonight, and what that does is it gives O'Donoghue an opportunity to come back. He closes in dramatically into turn 1.
I thought maybe for a second Kyle Heath was going to was going to be able to cross that back up one more time and make the send into turn number 1. He didn't do it that time. They seem content. He seems content to follow Klein through the S's, down
Still a
through
lot of
turn
racing
6.
left. Still a lot of racing.
Oh, 100%. But he seems determined
Adam
there.
O'Brien is being very meticulous, and he's doing a great job holding this lead.
Yes, he is. And he's running some of the fastest laps that he has run for the entire event, down in the 141.1 range, which is close to the speed that O'Donoghue and Heath were running. Not quite,
Yes, sir.
not quite as fast, but pretty close. There you see O'Brien.
Klein is just at the beginning of the event. He was working his way up through the field very quickly with fresh tires, and so we are seeing some speed out of him as he holds this position. But I don't know how much longer he's going to be able to hold Heath off, and especially as fast as O'Donoghue is catching these two. He's getting ready to get into the fray. Heath absolutely killed that last corner, and he'll dive it in there hard and make the pass.
Klein's not going to be done, though. He's going to try to fight back on the outside. He doesn't want to lose. He does not want to lose
O'Donoghue.
two.
He's going to follow through with the opening.
Yeah, he doesn't want to lose 2, but I think he's going to. He's got the position going into turn 1, and it's just going to be a matter of time.
O'Donoghue has been beautiful in turn 1 all race long.
Yes, he has. Now, Heath wheel hopped it a little bit going through there. O'Donoghue is able to clear Klein, and now it's a straight fight. So here's Adam O'Brien. He is your leader, and cue the Jaws theme, because there's Kyle Heath, and he's coming.
Really a big shout out to James Hodgkins tonight as well, as he's had his own moments of turmoil tonight, but yet here he is running in 5th place and doing a great job and keeping pace with these leaders as well. Justin Osterman, he's been in the bee's nest many times in the event, and he's running in 6th place. The resilience of some of these drivers. And the other thing that's really impressed me about this field here at AMA tonight is that how many cars are still running here at the end of this road course race. A lot of times drivers get discouraged, and if they're just so far off pace, they'll just pull it off the racetrack. But I've been really impressed with the amount of drivers that have stuck this event out and decided they're going to finish this thing and run it, despite whether they're 1 lap, 2 laps, 3 laps down. It's impressive the quality of drivers that we have here.
It is. By my count, there are still 28 cars in the lobby. There are 25 on the track. Sharp, Bernier, and Jones.
Yeah, that's outstanding. It's outstanding in my opinion.
It is. I mean, a lot of times you get into league. You get into the league season proper. You get to the first road course race, and you might have 20 guys show up. So to see a full field, 32 cars, 33 cars, excuse me. That's a credit to Kendall Paul and the admin team here. At the AMA,
and
it's
Michael
a credit.
Kirk, who I believe is the recruiting administrator.
Yeah, I mean it's a credit to him. It's a credit to Black Magic Studios and Archway Industrial Coatings and all the sponsors they have. They put together a really, really neat deal here, and we're very pleased, Sam and I, to bring it to you. 15 to go. We're watching off the roof cam.
Now they're catching Will Moore, who is very, very courteously moving out of the way so the leaders can get by. What a great gesture by Will Moore there to give them room.
He did. And one of the things that I'd like to point out to you, Sam, is that Kyle Heath is not catching Adam O'Brien. Matter of fact, the last time through, O'Brien was just about 80 thousandths of a second slower.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, so O'Brien and
9/100's faster, yeah.
Yeah, so Heath and O'Donoghue, who have been the class of this field for the entire event, they are not catching Adam O'Brien as one might have expected.
Well, as you get more wear on the tires, depending on how you're able to save the tire, they will equalize. They will equalize to a point where all the cars, if the driver skills are on a level playing field, that they can equalize to the point where lap times can kind of level out.
Speaking of equalized, James Hodgson and Joseph Klein are having at it.
They sure are.
Hodgson pulled to the outside going into turn number 1. He wasn't quite able to make it stick. He has been all over the back of that 7, and I gotta believe that's just a matter of time before you see the 88 go through into 4th place. We'll kind of watch this. The lead has more
But
or
you
less
also have to
stabilized.
take into consideration that O'Donohue has actually closed in on Heath as well.
He has. There's only 0.3 of a second in it. Around goes the 39, numbered 30 on your pylon. That's
Yeah, Wilmore lost it there. Yep.
Let's see if Hodgson can make another run here up the front straight. Just a
lot of this momentum corner here with the double apex. You can see Joseph Klein takes a little. He bites off a little bit more in the apex so that he can get straighter runs off. Hodgson seems to want to follow the momentum of those corners. Klein has been exceptionally strong through this last turn as well, turn 20.
Yeah, and there you see it. Is Hodgson gonna send it into turn 1? He's gonna pull it over to the left. He does not.
There's still so many laps left that, do you want to risk making that pass and use up your tire, or lock them up, or get into wheel hop? And you do the pass too early and use up tire, then you set yourself up to be passed later in the event. It's a good time to follow, especially when you're not getting pressured from behind.
Yeah, there's a huge gap. It's almost 10 seconds back to Scott C. Ford in 6th from this battle. Jason Heaney has fallen well off the pace as well. Sean Merriman's
Kyle
back there.
Heath has decided that he didn't like the idea that he wasn't catching Adam O'Brien.
Yeah, let's go back. Well, we said we were going to go back, and then as soon as I said that, we had a pass for thirds, or excuse me, for 4th. So here's Hodgson. He is following Joseph Klein, and I believe there's going to be a mistake here at the end of the backstretch.
No question, Klein missed it. He sure did.
Well, I don't think he missed it so much as he might have wheel hopped it. That's classic. The back end just stepped out while he was downshifting and turning. He gets it off into the runoff, so no consequence of bending the car, but it cost him the spot. James Hodgson,
well, there's no question. Yeah, he lost the back end of it.
And so we'll go to the battle for the lead because it is brewing. Kyle Heath has trimmed it down to a half a second, and he is coming on Adam O'Brien. There's the 13, and
Osterman has retired from the event. Justin Osterman is retired.
Yes, he has. I do see that he's punched out. Let's ride on the roof. Kyle Heath.
That's interesting. Osterman, why he would retire.
I mean, you don't know. It could have been, some sort of an equipment failure. It could have been, it could have been that it could have been real life intervenes. I mean,
absolutely,
it could have been a power outage. I mean, you don't know. Justin is not one that would retire without cause. You see the gap back to Kyle Heath from Adam O'Brien.
If these leaders get up here racing really hard, O'Donohue is waiting to pounce.
He is. He's about a second and a half behind this battle. Watching, Kyle Heath, watching Adam O'Brien. He's a little bit further back there, but it's not decisively so. And you're right. You're right to point out. If O'Brien and Heath get together, Ryan O'Donohue is going to be the beneficiary.
Trevor Beans almost loses on the front stretch, and the leaders are not far behind him.
Nope, there's Benz. He does get it going again, but O'Brien and Heath are coming. Heath has it down to 0.3 of a second at the line that time. He chopped another 10.
Oh, and he makes a big move on the outside of Adam O'Brien.
He is. Now, O'Brien is not going to let him, he's not going to let him stay out there. So if you saw it there, fans, Adam O'Brien just took the car to the exit of the track. Heath not far enough alongside, not able to make that stick, and O'Brien will retain the lead through the S's. We've got 11 laps to go here at Circuit of the Americas in the AMA Black Magic Studios
Adam is
Grand
so
National
strong
Series.
through the S's. He is so strong.
Yes, he is. And did you notice the different line there that he took purposely?
I did.
Yeah, he did that. He took a
Hens
radically.
takes another big wide turn. Oh, and he's sideways in front of the leaders again.
If you're Adam
they're
O'Brien,
catching
you're
him at such a precarious place on the racetrack. Benz is
he
everything
pulls over and
can
he
to
lets him
hold on
go.
to that car.
Yeah, he pulls
Oh,
over
he
and lets
let
him
the
go.
leaders go.
Good sporting move, but
That was absolutely a class act move by Trevor Benz.
It most certainly was. Now, if you're watching at home, watch the different lines that Adam O'Brien is taking here. He is no longer taking the optimum line for lap time. He's taking lines through these corners, especially
To protect the position.
to protect the position and get the launch off the corner so that Kyle Heath doesn't have a chance to throw that dive bomb. Now, this isn't a good example because it's not a good place to do it. But watch how he's going to go through turn number 1 and the different line he takes. Heath gets a good launch out of 20. He's going to come up the hill. He's going to try to make the move
Here
to
goes
the
Heath
inside.
going into 1. Oh, and he sticks it in there, and Adam does a perfect crossover. That was beautiful.
Now, you saw that coming. Adam O'Brien drove him deep, and then he waited on the outside, let the car set up, and then turned it off. O'Brien has been the better of the two through the S's, although Heath is right there this time. Careful of the turtles, boys. Through the cutoff.
Look at that different. There's that line you were talking about.
Yeah, well, what he's doing is
his approach is so much wider than he.
It is, and that's letting him get a much better launch off or out of that section. And he just can't get close enough to do the dive bomb, and that hurts him because he's got to brake earlier for turn 12, and then that hurts him all the way through here too. O'Brien.
This rhythm section through here, Adam is equally doing as well. Kyle Heath is doing such a fantastic job on the speed corners, the passing corners, where he really has to catch speed coming on the front straightaway or coming into the S's. Those are really his strong points.
There are. Now, we do have lap traffic ahead of these cars, and so
we're catching Michael Kirk and Braden Langley here.
Yeah, so let's see what these two cars
And Langley has had his fair share of trouble tonight. He's really done a great job of staying into this race as they both swing wide. They both spring. Oh no! Kirk comes back out in front of the leaders.
Well, he had to. He was going wide to let him go.
He was trying to get around Langley.
Well, he was trying to get around Langley, but he was going wide to let him go too. And he's going
to try it again.
No, he's not close enough that time, though.
No, he's not. He thought the better of that one. He'll follow him again. There's still laps left here.
There certainly are.
That was so close. So close.
It was. Well, I think they pulled over to let the leaders go, and he ran out.
I think Langley slowed down too much for Kirk.
Well, he did, but then Kirk ran out.
He went to avoid him. Yeah.
Well, but then Kirk ran out of road. That was going to turn into grass there. Again, the wide line from Adam O'Brien. Again, the good launch off the corner. Again, he'll yard Kyle Heath down the straightaway. O'Brien, if you look at the speed, Sam, Adam O'Brien was 5 miles an hour faster to the braking zone than Kyle Heath right there.
How about that?
Heath locks him up.
And he just locks him up. And I was getting ready to make the comment, too, that these two are racing for the lead here in the closing stages of this race, and they are pulling away from O'Donoghue.
Yeah, I mean, Adam O'Brien has certainly found another gear. Kyle Heath, I think, used up his stuff a little bit after that restart where him and O'Donoghue kind of fell back into
all the cars. Yeah,
and they had to pass all the cars. So I think he might have used up his tires a little bit. We're looking back at Kyle Heath. He does not have the speed he once had. Certainly Ryan O'Donoghue doesn't either. And Adam O'Brien has found some speed here in the late going. And my goodness, these two are waging a whale of a battle. It'd be different if it was for 15th and we were showing it, but this is for the race lead, folks.
It's been interesting to see how we've been able to find some of the battles that have been going on in the race tonight.
We have now both of those.
I mean, the closest thing that you have to what's going on at the front would be 9th, 10th, and 11th with Edwin James and Wasserman, and then of course
now
John Hutchins. But
Heath is drawn it alongside of Adam O'Brien. O'Brien went wide in turn 1. Heath got alongside and got the position on O'Brien going through the S's, and that might be kind of all she wrote here. We'll see if Adam O'Brien can get back to the 13 of Kyle Heath, or if that's going to be job done for the driver who in the AMA series has won so many.
Pace he had off that corner.
Yeah.
What patience that Heath has shown in making that pass.
That was very much a set of moves from the original Top Gun movie when they're talking about Iceman. He just wears you down, gets you bored, frustrated. You do something stupid, and he's got you. That was Kyle Heath. He just wore Adam O'Brien down, got to the lead. O'Brien isn't going anywhere though. He's hanging tough. Get back there, cool your stuff off. There's still 8 laps left in this thing, and there are places on the speedway where Adam O'Brien is better than Kyle Heath. So.
And there have been times in the practice that watching Kyle Heath practice earlier before the event tonight, I rode on board with several drivers, but there were times where Kyle was really pushing the car, trying to get as much out of it as he could, and trying to test his limits to see where the car would give up and where it wouldn't give up. And he had several self spins and things like that. So anything is possible, but he's been a smooth criminal tonight.
Well, and that's kind of how you have to do it when you're testing a car, Sam. You got to push it.
Sure.
You got to push it beyond what it's capable for, so you know where the limit is. And I think Kyle's found that limit.
Well, it looks like he's found another gear this lap.
Yeah, I mean he was a second and a half faster than Adam O'Brien the last time through, 142.715 to 144.134, so 4/10, second and 4/10, and he's looking like he's about to. Well, he's not quite doing it again this time. Adam O'Brien is hanging tough. And there are more lap cars. We're riding on the roof of Adam O'Brien, and there are yet more lap cars here. Lap traffic may play into it.
There's a big battle going on here with Wasserman, Edward James, John Hutchins. Those guys are really trying to fight for this 10th position.
And they've been doing it.
James, actually, Wasserman is in 9th position, and so.
And if you look at those cars, they've been doing
bragging rights of being in the top 10.
Well, and that's championship points too. It looks like they've been fighting it with the bumpers, with the doors, and the rear, and the tail ends of these things. I don't think there's a straight panel.
We've alluded that these guys know those fenders exist.
I don't think there's a straight panel on any one of those three.
They're catching Sean Merriman now.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and stick with this. Kyle Heath is firmly taking hold of the lead.
He's already stretched it out to over a second over Adam O'Brien.
Yep, and O'Brien's still got 1.6 seconds on O'Donoghue. O'Donoghue's a couple of seconds clear of James Hodgson. And then those four are in a different zip code. You've got to go back another 10 seconds to get to Joseph Klein, and then another 10 seconds to get back to Heaney, Ford, Merriman, and this bunch.
The spaces between some of these positions is incredible.
It is, although, we've still got 17 cars on the lead lap. Mark Cofield is 17th. He is the last car on the lead lap. He's, just a little over a minute behind. So barring some sort of insanity here, we're going to have 17 cars finish on the lead lap, which in a field of 33 at a place like this is not too bad.
I agree. Will Moore is the last car that's retired from the event completely. There are some cars that are sitting on pit road, but it really, I'm thoroughly impressed that so many drivers have decided to stay and race this thing out. I think it's admirable, honestly. I really do.
Speaking of that, we're going to go ahead and put the good soldier up. That's Brian Sharp. And the reason that I'm going to show Brian Sharp is for the exact reason that we were just talking about. He is 10 laps on the road. He spent 10 laps down on the road. We watched the 25 go wide one more time. That's Braden Langley. Sharp spent 13 minutes on the pit lane under repair.
Wow.
The two cars in front of him, Will Moore and Justin Osterman, are
he's going to make up 2 spots.
have retired. And so Brian Sharp, by pulling that car back out onto the course, if he can make 2 more laps, he's going to finish in 24th instead of 26th. And when it comes down time to settle the playoffs here in the AMA Black Magic Studios Grand National Series, those 2 points that you get, it's a point per position. Those 2 points can be very, very big. And so, never say quit, never say die. That's the reason you don't stop. Brian Sharp's going to get himself a couple of spots just simply by being persistent here at Circuit of the Americas, and those could prove to be quite handy. Meanwhile, Adam O'Brien has dropped to 3rd behind Ryan O'Donohue. So I got to believe the handling on that 87 machine. He's cooked the good years. And now he's trying to get it home.
Wow. It looks like, yes, Edwin James gets past Wasserman. They're still battling as they're coming through the S's.
There they are.
I'm sorry, Sean Merriman. Sean Merriman still holds that spot. Wasserman and Edwin James are fighting him for that spot.
They are indeed. Great call out. This is still the best battle on the track. We did cut away to show you Adam O'Brien only because he had been passed for second. Down into turn 12.
Woo!
They're using the bumpers.
But it's getting late. You got to go. It's time to go.
I believe that 46 is used.
Edwin James with a big move. Oh, and Sean Merriman swings it wide. Edwin James has decided he's going to try and take advantage of both positions.
He did.
Wasserman won't have anything to do with it. They make contact.
That's 2 corners out of the last 3 that the 57 and the 46 have used up each other's doors.
But they're keeping it straight. They're racing for this spot. They're doing a great job.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's no harm, no foul, especially in some of these low speed corners. But this has definitely been a contact sport. And here comes the 57. And
Wasserman bit off way too much right there.
And they're both going to go
now
around.
He gets into both of them. John Hutchins gets by them. Lee Campbell gets by them.
I'm assuming there's a reason that I have my voice chat off. Would be my assumption. Around goes Edwin James. He's going to fall to 12th. Wasserman is going to be 11th. It's probably a good thing that Wasserman is about 5-6 seconds up the road from Edwin James.
Yeah. It may not matter after the flag falls. Although Wasserman has spoke in public chat, and he's apologized to James, but apologies are nice, but it sure doesn't make up for position.
We can talk about that tomorrow, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been that way where guys gotten into me, and I've been madder than a wet hornet in a moment and gone away. The guy's trying to apologize, and you hang up the Discord call and storm off and go do something else, and then the next morning you call the guy back and you're like, "Hey man, your apology's accepted."
I get it.
Not in that moment though.
That is the clarity enough to say, I'm going to let you think about it.
Yeah. Now you got Michael Moquin and Colby Pierce, and they. Oh no! Jacob Cannon just checked in the chat. He said be back next week. And he's got a family member in a hospital with a life-threatening situation. We're sorry to hear that, Jacob. You're certainly in our. You and your family certainly have our prayers, and I hope your family member gets well soon. I was going to say before I saw that, Colby Pierce and Michael Moquin have hooked up one more time, Sam.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, they're back here doing battle for 13th and 14th.
I see the battle now. Yes, I see exactly what you're talking about. Moquin is now on the back. Oh, he makes a big move on the outside.
There's the doors.
And they make contact coming into the front stretch.
There's the doors.
They're not. That Moquin
we're not done.
Make a left-hand turn before they get to one.
We're not done. We're not
Colby
done.
Pierce is on the inside. He has position. They both hard break into one. They dive it in deep. Moquin is going to try and do. Oh, and there, Edwin James spins in front of them. Oh, and he backs up. Oh, it's so close. Oh my heavens!
Colby Pierce made it through there. So
He
Pierce,
sure did.
So Pierce maintains the position. He can go. He can find us in the. He can find the broadcast booth later, as the saying goes, for the clean pair of brown pants. Meanwhile, Moquin pulls up on the backside of that 42, and they're going to go after each other just
These two have
one more
been
time.
racing each other all night long. They have put on quite the show.
You know they have.
Cofield
Moquin's
was actually close
sideways.
to them, but and Moquin loses the back end, and that opens the door for Cofield to close in on Moquin as they come into the next corner.
Now he's got to be careful. Those tires are going to be awfully hot from sliding, but he did not.
Zachary Wake and Andrew Miller are back here, or excuse me, Zachary Wake and Edward James are fighting back here for position.
We got battles all over the speedway. There's Edwin. He's certainly.
Moquin again. You think he's getting every last ounce of rubber out of those rear tires?
Yeah, I think he's going to be down to the cords. We're going to go back and give the man his due, or give the front their due.
Let's go see old Kyle and how he's doing.
Well, we're going to stop by here for the battle for second, because Adam O'Brien went back, cooled his stuff off. He is pulled right back up on the rear of Ryan O'Donohue, and he's got James Hodgson right there with him. And so we'll watch this for a moment, and then we'll take a ride.
We'll be coming to the white flag here shortly.
Yes, we will. And speaking of white flag, there's Mr. Heath.
We got Brian Sharp in front of these.
I would assume
who we were just talking about.
Yeah, he's made it to 24th. Here's
let's
Heath.
see if Brian pulls down into the inside here. Somehow that doesn't surprise me at all that he would do that.
Doesn't surprise me in the least.
They weren't close enough to make the pass, so now he's going to get back up into the race line and go to the outside. It clears the path for these leaders, and there goes O'Brien. Sure enough,
he made it.
What a pass! What a pass!
Yep, we're gonna go back and watch it one more time. Here's Adam O'Brien. Brian Sharp is the lap car out there. He pulls the car literally off the racetrack, and that's not the reason he got by Ryan O'Donohue. O'Donohue locked the left front up going into turn number 1. Adam O'Brien says thank you very much. O'Brien will go to second, and now O'Donohue. He's got problems with James Hodgson.
Sure does. Hodgson has caught him. Oh, and he dives in here. O'Donohue might try the crossover as Hodgson locks up the front tires, and sure enough, they're door to door coming into this next right-hander.
Well, now they're more than that.
Hodgson's around. And around goes Hodgson.
Now that's not going to cost Hodgson anything. This group was well ahead, 17 seconds on Joseph Klein for 5th. So that's just the one spot for Hodgson. Meanwhile, Kyle Heath.
It really opens it up for O'Brien to secure that second spot for right now.
It does. I mean, that's going to put him almost 4 seconds ahead. But the man of the hour is Kyle Heath. He's working through turn 18 to turn 19. He'll make the left.
Yes, sir.
He'll make the left. He's going to come through and get the checkered flag from Barney. Kyle Heath.
He has run a masterful race tonight. Masterful race.
He has indeed. Adam O'Brien going to come through and finish second. There's O'Donohue to round out the podium. James Hodgson, he's got to be a little bit disappointed maybe with 4th, but still a good run. Brian Sharp will be flagged off. So there's the top 4, and now we're going to wait for Joseph Klein, and he is a ways back. Barney's arm is going to get tired of waving that flag. Here comes Klein to the start-finish line to finish 5th. Heaney is 6th. Man alive,
and we've chatter going on in the.
We've got a battle brewing here. Mark Cofield and Kobe Pierce are locked together. Now this group is nearly a full lap behind the leader, and so they're not yet anywhere close to the end of their final lap. They had just started their final lap. Michael Moquin is just in the picture there. They're going to round up the final corner here. Colby Pierce is going to come through in 12th. Coalfield, barring anything crazy, Coalfield will be 13th. Moquin 14th. And then we've got Zachary Wake and Keith Ayers going after it too, but there's going to be no change in position there. They will come across the line, and that is the final running order. My goodness.
That was just such an eventful race just throughout the field. There was such good racing throughout the field, which I was expecting and hoping for, and it really exceeded my expectations. It's really good. Congratulations to Kyle Heath.
Yeah.
Just leading that many laps and outside of a miscue on a restart, I mean, he earned every bit of those positions back.
You know, he certainly did. Kyle Heath is the winner tonight at Circuit of the Americas. He's going to bring it home over Adam O'Brien in second. Ryan O'Donoghue is going to come home third. James Hodgson is going to be fourth. Rounding out your top five, give a call down to Joseph Klein. Jason Heaney, 6th. Scott C. Ford Jr., 7th. Sean Merriman, 8th. Lee Hutchins is going to be 9th. And Lee Campbell, he had an eventful day, too. Sam. He's going to bring it home 10th. In 11th, Brian Wasserman. Colby Pierce, I think, hit everything but the pace car. He'll be 12th. Mark Cofield is 13th. Michael Moquin is 14th. Edwin James will round out your top 15. Most of these guys back here did have some sort of trouble during the event. Zachary Wake, 16th. Keith Ayers, 17th. Trevor Benz, 18th. Michael Prachik, 19th. And Mark Alwett will be 20th. He'll be 3 laps down. In 21st, Michael Kirk. Andrew Miller, 22nd. Braden Langley, 23rd. Brian Sharp soldiers home. He gets those 2 spots, Sam.
He sure does. He sure does.
He'll be 24th. Retired from the event, Justin Osterman, Will Moore, Nolan Milnes, who was fast early, Eric Corder, Brandon Bernier, and Paul French. Rounding out the field in 31st, Caleb Jones, Ryan Floyd, Jacob Smith, and Jeffrey Hyatt are going to be the 34 that took part in today's event. I don't know if I've got enough breath left to interview anybody, Sam.
I'm sorry?
I said I don't know if I've got enough. Breath left to interview anybody, Sam.
Knowing you, Mark, the way I know you, I think you're going to be fine.
Now, Ryan O'Donoghue is not in the Discord.
Now we found him earlier, but he actually was.
No. Now here he is. So he is in the waiting room. So my apologies to Mr. O'Donoghue. So we'll get him queued up here. And we'll get him in here. Ryan O'Donoghue, you got Mark Murphy and Sam Crow in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, 10-4. I got you guys.
Very good. So you and Kyle had the class of the field speed, and then I'm kind of interested for your take on that restart from the second stage break. Can you kind of walk us through what happened there? Got you put kind of back in the back, and then you never quite were able to make it back up to the front.
Yeah, that got crazy there. I think Kyle kind of overshot it a little bit. I checked up, then I was surrounded by everybody. That was kind of worst case scenario, but we made it through that. We both worked our way forward a little bit, but I burnt the tires right up trying to get back to him. So that was it for that. I was better in the first run in the second half of the track, and then it flipped for me in the second half of the race. I kind of found some time in other places, but it didn't equal out to anything to be able to finish it off.
Sam?
I was just curious, your call of the race, Brian, and congratulations on your finish, by the way, is dead on exactly what we were noticing in your first run. You were keeping pace with Kyle, and then as the run got into the last 5 to 6 laps, you began to back off a little bit, or he began to pull away, depending on how you look at it. What adjustments did you make in order to try and make up for that loss of time in the long run?
I think being able to follow him for those first 2 stages, kind kind of found where I was a little better, where he was a little better, and I tried to make an adjustment of that. Ended up finding some time in the S's, which really helped me out towards the end of the race. I think if I could have got, you know, I don't know, whatever it is, 11 and 12, then the last two lefts, figured out a little better, get a run down the front straightaway. I think I could have linked it all together, but it is what it is.
I thought you had a fantastic run altogether. The consistency that you showed all throughout the night really shows the driver that you are. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I put in some work this week. Ran hundreds of laps on this thing, trying to get it figured out. I love this car, and I like the road courses, but I'm not boastful about anything to do with that. I'm definitely still trying to find speed, but yeah, it was a good time.
Well, I'll tell you what, Ryan, the hard work, you could tell that you put it in, and it definitely paid off. And the prize for that hard work, well, one of them anyway, is that you get the floor. So friends, family, sponsors, anybody you'd like to give a shout out to, the floor is yours, Ryan O'Donohue. Take it away.
Well, first, I just want to say sorry to the 88, James, man. I hate that I got into him there. Didn't want to see it finish like that, but glad to come home third. No, my girlfriend's watching. She's happy about it. P1 Broadcasting, you guys are doing a great job. AMA, this is a great league. I'm glad I found it. Kendall, all the admins, everybody that helps out. All their partners, Track Racer, Black Magic Studios for the title for the series. Everybody else watching, I hope we put on a show.
You most certainly did. We're gonna put you back in the waiting room. Keep going fast and having fun, buddy, and we will see you next week.
Great job tonight, Ryan.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.
Yes, sir. That is going to be your third place finisher, Ryan O'Donohue. We'll go ahead and get the middle step of the podium up here. That's Adam O'Brien. Adam, you got Mark Murphy, Sam Crow in the P1 Broadcasting booth. Have you got a copy, sir?
I do. It's good to hear you guys.
You know, it's
Well, it's good to have you, Adam.
Yeah, it's good to have you in the booth. You and I are usually together in a Discord much later than this hour. So walk us through. You got the lead. It looked like Kyle and Ryan were playing their best restart at the Roval deal, where they all ran down into turn one and overshot the thing and ran into the fence.
Yeah.
You know, they kind of broke themselves. I know at least Kyle did. So you get the lead, and now you're trying to hold off Kyle Heath. He eventually got you. Was that a matter of running out of tires, or was it a matter of he was just that much quicker?
He just had a lot more pace. I mean, he's the one I set my standards to in this league. He's one of the best in this league, one of the fastest cars around. I kind of had a feeling, I was hoping I'd get a little bit bigger gap trying to run, but he didn't battle, I think it was Klein, long enough for me to get a little bit more of a gap on him. And just, he ended up catching up to me. I made one mistake, and there he went.
That's all it takes with a guy like Kyle Heath, for sure. Just that one mistake. Everything else was pretty much mistake-free for you. So you bring it home second. Sam, what do you have for the middle step of the podium tonight?
Adam, it was really interesting to see how you progressed throughout the race. I know you battled a lot, and there were some incidences there that had you up on the wheel throughout the race. I'm just a little curious that once of course, you had to race to get to where you were, and then when the Red Sea parted on that last restart, and you found yourself up front, what's going through your mind as you're trying to maintain that lead, and knowing that there's drivers like O'Donohue and Klein and Heath that are just breathing down your neck? Can you just give us a little insight of what you're thinking in that moment?
Run. Like, pretty much just run and be smooth as I could possibly be, because at this track, literally, I like, later on in the race, O'Donohue got back by me because I made a mistake and I spun the car halfway around in one of the back sections, and kind of almost coughed up the podium entirely, but had to get my mindset set straight and figure everything out and just start getting back in a rhythm of everything to eventually where I got back past him and kind of paced myself to stay where I was.
Was there any a point where you felt like, okay, I think I really want to rate once Heath began to close the gap on you, and there were a couple of times he made some big runs on you in turn 20 that you were thinking, okay, I'm gonna make him earn this.
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely the factor to try to make him earn it because he knows me. We've raced now for 2 seasons almost in this league, and we always put on fun battles. It's a blast getting to race him. I got lucky enough to get him on a crossover into turn 1, but after that,
Yeah, we called that one out loud. It was a beautiful move.
he caught back onto that, and once he got that run again, he took off with it. And more props to him. He's a fantastic driver. It's always fun racing him.
I can second that motion. My last question for you is, Adam, how do you go about racing on a road course where there are no cones?
It was a little hard. I was thinking about playing with the turtles a little bit, but I learned the turtles are not a good idea to play with. They hurt the car a lot. So it was kind of hard not having cones to play around with, but with how many fast guys were up there with the amazing competition that's here, it's enough to keep me occupied to not go for a cone.
Well, there you go. Well,
That's great.
thank you so much for dropping by, Adam. We definitely appreciate you. It's good to see you, buddy. Do you have any friends, family, sponsors, anybody you'd like to shout out to, sir? The floor is yours.
Definitely got to thank Andy and Brian and everybody at Black Magic. They do a fantastic job having a nice, friendly environment to run with everybody there. Got to thank Reflex Photography. Does fantastic photography work in real life. He shoots Maple Grove, the local tracks we run. He's a great guy. Definitely got to thank No Pass Media, Colby, and all them. They do great photos in the sim and everything else, and just you guys for broadcasting, Kendall for always getting this league and making it grow the way he has been, where we're starting to get consistently high 30 amounts of cars. It's just incredible.
Yeah, I'll second that motion. But it's good to have you up here, buddy. It's good to see you going fast and having fun.
Adam, you drove a fantastic race.
Yeah,
Well, thank
you. Keep it that way, and we'll see you next week, buddy.
Sounds good. See you guys. Have a good one.
Yep, yep,
You
yep.
too, my friend.
That is Adam O'Brien. We'll get him out of here, and then we'll bring in tonight's winner, Kyle Heath. We've talked to him once. We'll talk to him again. Mr. Heath, you've got Sam and Mark in the P1 broadcasting booth. You've been up here before. Now you're probably a little bit more relaxed, I would assume.
Yeah, I'm definitely a lot more relaxed. Last week was a bummer for me because my CPU don't really like iRacing right now. It's an older model, so I was kind of twitching back and forth, and I just went ahead and dropped back the race, and I wasn't about to push it no more. So I was nervous about tonight because it's a road course and we have 34 cars on the racetrack.
Yeah.
Great fields, yeah.
Yeah. I was still nervous about that. As the race went on, my numbers kept climbing, but all in all, it was a fun race.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Donahue, he kept me honest, that's for sure. I mean, but I think once when he wore out his tires a little bit more than I did, I was able to pull away. A couple of corners there, he was able to catch me throughout the whole race, but the rest of the racetrack, I was able to keep my distance.
Yeah, and maybe we should get maybe we should get Ken Dale with all these new entries. He can increase the purse to include some thermal paste for Kyle Heath. I'm in that same boat, by the way. I'm looking at rebuilding mine this weekend, so I get it. Was there ever a point where you thought you wouldn't get back to Adam?
Yeah, I got really nervous because after I made that whoop-de-doo going into turn one, had a brain fart basically. I think Donahue did too. I don't know if he was following me or what, but we both screwed up. And
yeah, it kind of reminded me of the turn one at the Roval, the late restart there, the first time they went, where the whole field went down there and just drove in the fence.
Yeah,
it kind of it looked like you guys just outbroke each other.
Yeah, it was crazy stupid, but we were able to gather it back up, and I caught back up to Jason, the 9 car, and I was able to get around him. I came close to dumping him in the I guess what you call the COTA carousel area, and got around him. And once I caught Joseph Klein, I could tell he was burning up his stuff and spinning his tires a lot. It took me couple laps to finally get around him, but trying to get around Adam, raced against him past couple of seasons is always fun, close battles. He held his line true, and I was finally able to get a run on him, and he did the crossover move and got me back. And
Over and
I
one.
think it was a couple of laps later. Or that next lap, I was finally to actually stick it in there and keep it in, and able to get the lead and keep my distance and make sure that nobody could get a run on me.
Sam?
Well, Kyle, we noticed tonight that it seemed like one of the strongest areas that you showed so much strength at was going into 20, going into the front stretch. You timed a lot of your passes in that particular corner, and I was just curious about what is your approach to that particular corner where you feel like that you can make those kind of moves? Because you were one of the few that was actually not dive bombing the car into the corner. You were actually utilizing the apex of it and getting huge runs coming up the front stretch.
Yeah, well, going into corners like that, slow is fast. Going in slow and get a good arc coming out. That way your wheel is straight coming out, and you can actually stay on the throttle a lot more. That's how you get the good runs.
I felt like you were showing such patience, especially when the gap began to close between you and Adam. And as you got closer to Adam, you just weren't taking those risks like we saw other drivers doing throughout the night on that particular corner, and you just kept timing it. And if it didn't work the first time, then you would wait. And then the next time, of course, Adam did that fantastic crossover into one, and then you just gave yourself such room and patience. And so kudos to you tonight for a fantastic race and how you just dominated so much of it. But even in light of the mistake on the last restart, as you called it, I did get a little humor out of you hotkeying the mic when you hit the turtle, and you said, "Oh, I hit the turtle." I did get a laugh out of that. But despite some simple mistakes, what most would call simple mistakes, you showed great patience tonight, and it's the sign of a great racer, man. Great job.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I try to pace myself. There's no sense in really pushing too hard, trying to save your stuff. Tires what mean a difference between from the green to the checkered. Trying to save the tires best you can, not to get them too hot, not to wear them out too much. Tires is what win the race. If you wear them out, if you wear them out, you're not going to go nowhere.
That's exactly right.
Backwards.
Well, you definitely went forward tonight, Kyle. You know the drill. Friends, family, sponsors, anybody you got to say hi to out there, the floor is yours, sir. You have earned it.
Yeah, I think I've seen a couple of people out there in chat. Been some before. I don't know if he's still watching. I'll say hey to him and everybody else who's watching. Big shout out to AMA and Kendall and all the admins here, putting this on, able to broadcast it, which is always awesome. I always enjoy going back and watching the broadcast. I'm pretty sure everybody does. Big shout out to my teammates out there in FGR. And my painter, he painted this car for me. It was a kind of mix up at first, but we got it right. Joshua Bryan, he painted my car, and my bush ice kept me hydrated tonight.
Attaboy.
Nice.
So I got one more question for you before you go. Would you rather have me in the booth or chasing you?
I'd rather have you in the booth.
Well, I'll tell you what.
The way he drove tonight, everybody would be chasing him.
In the booth, I feel a little bit safer.
Well, thank you so much.
It's always good racing with you, Mark. It was always fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I thank you so much for stopping by, Kyle. Keep going fast, having fun, buddy, and I'm sure this isn't the last time we'll talk like this, my man.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
It is Kyle Heath. He is the winner tonight at Circuit of the Americas. And Sam, we got treated to what turned out to be a pretty doggone interesting race.
Oh, I agree with you. These races, they get such a bad rap a lot of times that people do, it's a road course, it's going to be boring, it's going to be follow the leader. But because the size of the field and the diversity of the talent that is in the AMA, we got to see some fantastic racing. We got to see a lot of mixing it up. We saw mistakes, we saw achievements, we saw a lot of good racing that you can enjoy here in the AMA and iRacing on P1 Broadcasting. This is the only place that you're going to catch the AMA Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series. And so myself, I was thrilled with the product that was on the track tonight.
You know, I was thrilled too, and we've got more of that product coming. Sam and I are in a streak of 12 consecutive Thursday nights. Tonight was round 3. Next week, we're going to go to Phoenix for what Gary Godso, the founder of the P1 Broadcasting Network, terms as Bad Phoenix. That would be the new configuration. So we're going to go to Bad Phoenix for a 200 lapper on. We're going to go to Bad Phoenix for a 200 lapper next Thursday, March 13th. We'll be at Las Vegas in these cars, March 20th to Homestead, and then we're going to round out the month of March with the Hot Dog Stand 250 from Martinsville. So great diversity of tracks upcoming. Mile and a half D-shaped oval, mile and a half straight oval. You got the half mile at Martinsville and the mile at Phoenix. Do want to thank everybody out there who tuned in tonight for this event. Our numbers in the AMA series continue to be outstanding, and that's only because of the loyal fans of the series and our viewers. If you haven't already done so, Sam's right. Thank you. If you haven't already done so, make sure you hit the like button on the videos, ring the bell to subscribe to the channel. Let's keep this thing going and growing and do it together as we drive toward 1,000 subscribers. I want to thank my buddy Sam Crow for joining me tonight in the booth, our founder Gary Godso for allowing me to have the platform. Do want to thank all the first responders, the military, the firefighters, the police, the EMTs, all the people that do the hard work at night so that we can lay our heads on the pillows in safety. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Sam, we've got tomorrow night off. That means we will see you next week.
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Let's take the belts off. You can loosen the belts.
You can loosen them up. Same time next week, same bad
It's
channel.
always a pleasure, Mark.
Yes, sir.